Lucy with you here through until 2 o'clock, and then Solent Sport is on the way from 2. Jordan Clark is at the Vitality Stadium for pre-season already. How does it feel, Jordan? Is it good to be back?
Hey Lucy, yeah, it certainly is. Feels like, well, I'm ready to get going now. Certainly we were at St Mary's on Tuesday night for a first little taste, and that actually turned into be a really good pre-season friendly between Southampton and Bournemouth. We don't always say that about pre-season matches. Lots of teams, I think, sort of just take it easy a little bit because they don't want to risk any big injuries before the start of a season, but there was none of that on Tuesday night, so hopefully there'll be more of the same this afternoon, and we've got 3 more friendlies to bring you as well. So I'm here at the Vitality Stadium where Bournemouth will host Italian side Atalanta. Adam Blackmore is at St Mary's for what is South. So this is Bournemouth's penultimate pre-season friendly because they start the season a week later than everyone else against West Ham. They're going to play FC Lorient here next Saturday. But then we've got today Southampton's final pre-season friendly before they travel to Sheffield Wednesday next Friday for their championship opener. They are at home to Dutch side AZ Alkmaar. So Adam Blackmore's at St Mary's for that. And then Cliff Pledge is at Fratton Park for us today for Portsmouth's final pre-season friendly. They take on Bristol City ahead of their season opener a week later against Bristol Rovers. So we've got all bases covered, and a little bit like Tuesday, Lucy, we're going to make sure there's a little bit of coverage of the game, but we're going to try and mix that in with plenty of chat as well. We'll try and grab maybe some of the local journalists around us. I've been out speaking to some of the Bournemouth fans ahead of today's game as well to see how they're feeling about the new season. So it's going to be a very relaxed show again over the next 4 hours.
Okay, relaxed football? I don't know about that, Jordan Clark, but we'll see you from 2 o'clock. Cheers, all the best.
This is BBC Radio Solent Sport,
the home of live sports across the south.
Every Saints, Cherries and Pompey game live.
Good afternoon, welcome to BBC Radio Solent Sport, the second of 2 pre-season specials as we gear up to the start of the Football League season properly next weekend. We are with all 3 teams this afternoon. Bournemouth's penultimate friendly. They are against Italian side Atalanta at Vitality Stadium, a 3 o'clock kickoff. We're at St Mary's as well today for Southampton's final pre-season friendly before they travel to Sheffield Wednesday on Friday night to kick off their championship campaign. They host Dutch side AZ Alkmaar this afternoon. Adam Blackmore is in position at St Mary's to bring you plenty of interviews and updates from that game. And we've got Cliff Pledge for you as well at Fratton Park this afternoon. Pompey's final pre-season friendly. They take on Bristol City ahead of their League One opener next Saturday against Bristol Rovers. All 3 games kicking off at 3 o'clock. Like we did on Tuesday night, it'll be a relaxed 4 hours of sport for you this afternoon as we bring you a little bit of commentary, a little bit of coverage of the games mixed in with some chat and interviews as well. Coming up, we're going to hear from Andoni Iraola, Bournemouth's new manager. Adam Blackmore's going to be speaking live to Alfie House from the Southampton Echo in the next hour as well. And we're also going to hear from Alan Knight, Pompey legend as well, who'll be joining Cliff Pledge for commentary this afternoon at Fratton Park in that final Pompey pre-season friendly. With you through until 6 o'clock. And as always, on a Saturday, if you want to get in touch, you want to have your say, how you feeling ahead of the start of the new season, what have you made of the business that's been done in the transfer market so far? Maybe you got a first look at Russell Martin's side in action on Tuesday night and you were impressed by what you saw from Andoni Iraola as well in that game at St Mary's. You can let us know, you can get in touch if you've got any questions you want to put maybe to Adam Blackmore, maybe to John Williams. At Solent Sport is where you can send them on Twitter or X, whatever you're calling it these days. 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp, perhaps the quickest and easiest way to get in touch with us this afternoon. You just need to start your message with the word Solent, save that number into your contacts, 08000 321 333, or if you're old school, like John Williams, you can text 81333. Again, text messages need to start with the word Solent. Great to have you there. Settle in. 4 hours of sport. We are back. It's the home of live sport across the south.
Jordan Clark,
BBC Radio Solent Sport.
And welcome inside Bournemouth's Vitality Stadium, where the show is coming to you live from this afternoon. I base myself here with John Williams, former Bournemouth defender and assistant manager. He'll be helping to guide you through the game when it kicks off at 3 o'clock against Atalanta. The teams are out, so I can start off by bringing you the Bournemouth team this afternoon, and I'm guessing really in terms of formation, but I think Cherries fans are going to like the look of this attacking front line. I'll start at the back though. So it's Neto in goal. New signing, new goalkeeper Andre Rado is involved today. He is named on the bench, so expect probably to see him at half time or in the second half. The back four today, and maybe if we're going to start to see things now a little bit similar to how Andoni Iraola wants to line up for that opening Premier League game against West Ham in a couple of weeks, is Adam Smith at right back. Your two centre-backs are Ilya Zabani and Marcos Senesi. Milos Kerkez, new signing from AZ Alkmaar, incidentally, who are playing Southampton today, is at left back. It looks like Lewis Cook is your holding midfielder again, and then there is an attacking midfield four of essentially all wingers, although we know many of them can play in the number 10 role as well. So you've got Jayden Anthony, Ryan Christie, David Brooks and Justin Kluivert. I think that's going to be very fluid. Who's going to play out wide? I don't know. Maybe we'll see Kluivert through the middle today. Dominic Solanke leads the line for the Cherries again. Let me bring you their subs in full as well for the game against Atalanta this afternoon. So it's Radu, the substitute goalkeeper, Chris Mepham, Dongo Watara, Joe Rothwell, Kiefer Moore, Hamid Traore, James Hill, Gavin Kilkenny and Ben Greenwood. You'll have heard the news, I'm sure, in the week and confirmed in more detail by Andoni Iraola yesterday in a press conference about the injuries he's currently dealing with amongst his squad. The big news, Marcus Tavernier looks like he's going to be missing until at least the international break, which is a huge blow for Bournemouth and their star players. I tell you, I've seen him today. The squad walked round, the playing squad, and then some of the injured players as well. Antoine Semenyo in there, who is back in training but was injured at the end of last season, you'll remember. Marcus Tavernier was walking alongside Semenyo in a very heavy-duty knee brace on his left leg. It didn't look good, and that's a real blow for Bournemouth. Andoni Iraola said he doesn't want to speculate too much, but he thinks it's unlikely that they'll get him before the international break, which is a huge blow. And Lloyd Kelly as well, also injured. Like Marcus Tavernier, I believe I'm right in saying they were both injured during the Marbella pre-season training camp. Lloyd Kelly touch and go for the first game of the season against West Ham due to a calf problem. And I spoke to Andoni Iraola yesterday about how he sees him, obviously with Milos Kerkez being signed, whether he still sees him as a left back or maybe a centre back, and you'll hear some of that interview in the not too distant future in this first hour of the show this afternoon. So that's your Cherries team to play Atalanta. And in terms of your Atalanta side, I haven't had the team sheet popped in front of me so far, but I know that a lot, I'm sure Bournemouth fans, although they are turning up to see the Cherries in action this afternoon, will be excited maybe to see Rasmus Højlund involved for Atalanta as well. Of course, lots of speculation that he's heading to Manchester United or PSG. I think have made a big bid for him as well. I don't know if he's in the starting 11 yet, but I do know that he's definitely here because he's just walked around the pitch and posed for a few pictures and stopped to sign a few autographs for some young Bournemouth supporters down in front of us where we're sat here in the main stand. It's a gorgeous day in Dorset. Blue skies overhead, a little bit of cloud knocking around in those trees you can see away to the right hand side above the Ted McDougall South Stand are swaying back and forth at the moment. A decent crowd starting to gather as well, and as you always get with these pre-season friendlies, lots of youngsters and lots of Bournemouth fans who will be hoping this is the start of them being able to come and see their team more often, because I think the club this season are offering anyone that comes to a pre-season friendly the chance to get themselves a point, which then slowly opens the door for you to maybe get hold of Premier League tickets, which we know are like gold dust. I'll stop talking for a moment and just bring John Williams in very quickly. We're going to go off to St Mary's in a second and Fratton Park as well. Willow, good afternoon. How are you?
Yes,
You've got to turn your microphone on again. Second time you've forgotten that.
Yeah, very well. Bit disappointed with them injuries you've just mentioned. That's the one thing you don't want in pre-season, but we'll have to take it on the chin and just get on with it. But yeah, looking forward to today's game. It very exciting, that midfield, if you want to call it a midfield. They're all potentially strikers or wingers, or it's a very attacking lineup. But
yeah, so essentially, other than Lewis Cook, there's no other real out and out second central midfielder, which we know Andoni Iraola wants to sign. He said that's a priority, the midfield area. Obviously they've left they've lost Jefferson Lerma.
Yeah.
But then, as we said, you've essentially got 4 wingers there that can play most of them in the 10 role as well. So how are you lining them up?
It's a tricky one, isn't it, really, to see the balance. I mean, at Southampton, you know, chaos football was mentioned, and at times we really did press high and we really got after Southampton. I think they played into our hands a little bit, but as regards where they play, I mean, your guess is as good as mine, because you've seen Christie, he was popping up all over the place. You wouldn't say. It reminds me of the old Holland team, you know, total football. They were all played in the positions where the ball was. So very excited to see how this pans out today.
And just on the centre-backs as well, obviously your old position.
Yeah.
Senesi and Zabani. Now, I think that's the two that a lot of Bournemouth fans would like to see start the season.
Yeah, with Kelly missing, of course, that is a possibility. We'll see. We'll have a look at them both here today. You know, I thought there'd be maybe 5 or 6 players that will start next week, and I think he's still probably deciding what the team will be. And so you know, there's for all the boys on the bench, especially, if you can get some game time and impress, you'll be in the starting lineup.
Did you make it to the ground okay today? No punctures on the way or anything?
No problems at all today.
You're having a better day than me. I was meant to be up at 9 o'clock to speak to Katie Martin on her show. Set myself 2 reminders on my phone, missed both of them, completely forgot. So that started well. I then drove all the way to the ground, got out the car in the car park outside the Vitality Stadium. I'd left all the broadcast equipment at home, hadn't I? So I had to turn around, go all the way back again. So it's obviously catching whatever it is.
I think I'd take a punch in front of all that lot.
Get it all out the way before the season starts. Hopefully Adam Blackmore has had a better morning than us. Let's head to St Mary's and find out how he's doing.
Throwing me all that badly. Blimey. Hey, I tell you what, Jordan, the weather's actually perked up for the first time today here. So we've got bright sunshine on the St Mary's pitch. A few goalkeepers out warming up on both ends of the ground as I look from both sides. But no, everything so far, the kit's working. I mean, obviously on Tuesday my microphone wasn't working very well, so we seem to have made progress, Jordan, as we head towards the start of the season. And the Southampton team is out. So there are some players who survived the starting 11 from Tuesday night to today, including Bazunu, Manning, Charles. So I'm quite surprised to see some players the same. I mean, it's not, sometimes you think they're going to change sorry, not Bazunu. Manning starts, Charles starts, Alkmaar starts, Adozi starts, and they all started the other night as well. So the Saints team, Jordan, and here we go. We're less than a week away from the start of the Championship season. Friday night, live on BBC Radio Solent at Hillsborough. What a great stadium to start the season at. Live with you, me and Joe Tessam, of course. And will this, it's always the way with the final friendly, is this close to a starting lineup? Sales permitting. So Bazunu in goal, Livramento, Stevens, Shea Charles and Ryan Manning, the back 4. The midfield 3 looks ridiculously strong. Ward-Prowse, Will Smallbone and Carlos Alcaraz, who starts again. He's getting a lot of game time, Jordan, notably. And then up front, Nathan Teller on the right, Adam Armstrong and Sam Adozi. So Ward-Prowse still starts, Lavia's still on the bench, Onuachu's on the bench, Jordan. In from the cold, the big man. Walker-Peters on the bench and Shea Adams on the bench again. There is no Stuart Armstrong in the squad. Now, Tuesday was his first appearance. Off the bench, he scored and he's disappeared again. And we know Chaleta Sarr is away because of the birth of his child. So might be a few niggles and injuries, but that is the Saints team. I think it looks strong on paper. As for AZ Alkmaar, Jordan, what most people know about them is, of course, it was their fans that caused the trouble against West Ham in the Europa Conference League semi-final.
Yes.
At the end of last season, when the West Ham fan got applauded for helping out the friends and family of the West Ham players when they were getting attacked. As for the team themselves, there aren't too many names that you would note particularly, but there is definitely one from the Southampton point of view, and that is Geordie Classy. He's in the AZ Alkmaar squad this afternoon. So Geordie Classy or Yordi Classy, you can take your pick. He is in there. Other players you might recognise. What about Ron Vlaar, the former Aston Villa centre-half? He is in the squad this afternoon. Former Brighton goalkeeper Matt Ryan is a goalkeeper at AZ Alkmaar. Their top goal scorer is Evangelos Pavlidis from last season, and they finished 4th in the Eredivisie, of course, and made the semi-finals of the Conference League, which they are in again, Jordan, this time. So they've been a pretty decent, consistent club under Pascal Janssen the last couple of years. They've made good progress. And the other thing I'm wondering, Jordan, just for fun, whether some of these names on the team squad are related to more famous relatives, okay?
Go on.
So we've got Sem Vesterveld. I don't know if he's related to Sander, but he is a goalkeeper. Yeah. Okay, how about this? Willow be ready for this. Roddy de Boer. Okay, but he's a goalkeeper, so according to this, so I don't know if he's right. Andre Krol. Now, Krol's a name you might be too young to remember,
Rudy
Jordan.
Krol.
Rudy Krol. Willow straight in there with me with Rudy Krol. Okay, so we've got some famous names.
Sem Vesterveld is the son.
There you go, you smashed it, mate. I'll keep flying them. Okay, what about Fede de Jong?
I think.
What about Fede de Jong? Is he related to Nigel de Jong? Or to the other one at Barcelona? I'll have to do some research, more than I've done already, obviously. So we've got that to do.
Frank de Boer?
Frank de Boer, well, him and his brother, of course, but I was just wondering if he's related. And that's it. That's famous Dutch names I've done with now, okay? So that's as many as I've got for you.
Thank you very much.
Keep us interested. It's probably the most interesting thing about Alkmaar we could talk about.
Well, we've got 4 hours to fill, Adam, so that's a good start.
I'll get on with the research then, yeah?
At Solent Sport on Twitter if you can help. 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp. Make Solent the first word, or text 81333. Adam, just quickly then on the Saints team. I mean, you mentioned everyone's going to be thinking, is this going to be the side?
Yeah.
They'd be pretty happy with that, though, in the Championship, that 11 starting, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so. I would like to know where Jan Bednarek's disappeared to, Jordan. He did pick up a knock at Reading last week. I'm going to ask a few people, obviously, while I'm here this afternoon and try and be nosy. So hopefully that's just because of injury, but he's not in the squad again today and wasn't on Tuesday. So the interesting thing with that team for me, Jordan, is that young Shea Charles, who's only 19, of course, one of the summer signings, is starting again. I think it's probably to give him senior match time with his new squad, but he's starting again at centre-back. Now, we all thought he was going to come in as a central midfielder to replace Romeo Lavia. But at the moment, we've only seen him at centre-half, and he's there again alongside Jack Stevens. So, with no Chileta, no Bednarek, no Salisu in sight, maybe it will start, but it's a big ask for him, Jordan. He didn't find it that easy the other night against Bournemouth, and he got a young keeper in Bazunu behind him, the Manchester City connection there, of course, with those two. Jack Stevens' experience will be vital next to him, Ryan Manning as well the other side. But you're right, when you look at it, if you were to say, well, I mean, come on, let's be really super over optimistic. Imagine if we get to September, you can still play a midfield of Ward-Prowse, Smallbone and Alcaraz, or Lavia, who's on the bench.
Not
We'd all
bad,
be
is
happy.
it?
Well, it's not going to happen, is it? But you never know. Teller, of course, people talking about whether Burnley wants him back and so on. But Nathan Teller's a good lad. I don't think he'd kick up a fuss. I think he's no harm with him coming up with Southampton. Livramento's interesting. It's gone quiet, Jordan, hasn't it, on the Newcastle front with regards them wanting him and the amount of money Saints want. And Saints, you'll hear from some fans later in the hour, but Saints have been pretty strong with their valuations and sticking to their guns. And one of the fans I spoke to earlier said he was really pleased they had that hard stance, that they're not going to let clubs just come in and take players for less than their value. The only caveat to that, Jordan, for me, is that you do not want to leave yourself no time to replace players by dragging it out too long and missing out on players you wanted because you've been too slow selling first. And the other thing is, you don't want people in the camp who don't want to be there and are disaffected and have got their heads turned. Now, you let the ones that are going to go, let them go. Get as much money as you can, as efficiently as you can. Let them go and start spending money on the way you want to build the squad. It's very frustrating for Russell Martin, having been a Premier League club, Southampton, and now on the other end of it, where they're at the mercy of clubs like Liverpool, who can hang them out with Lavia for as long as they want. But for me, the sooner you get it all sorted, the better, and give yourself at least a couple of weeks to get players over the line before September the 1st. That's what I'd like. So yes, Ward-Prowse, Smallbone and Alcaraz is good. If it was Charles, Smallbone and Alcaraz in September, I think we'd all accept that. If it was Bednarek and Stevens behind them, and then we're looking for some additions. So it is interesting. I still want to see more from Sam Edozie, Jordan. I still think when he's starting today, he may start next week at Sheffield Wednesday. I still want more end product from him. I want him to be more. I mean, I know he's thin and he's just a bit fragile still.
Well, I was just going to say, more. I mean, the end product, but maybe, I don't know, his development physically as well. I was interested in Milos Kerkez, what he said to you about arriving in the Premier League, and the one thing he knows that he needs to improve is getting stronger and physically stronger. It's such an important part, isn't it?
Well, especially in the Premier League. And Edozie, has talent. But I think, whilst everyone says...
Well, more so in the Championship, though, wouldn't you say?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think the thing is with the Premier League, you need more power. Okay, so I would say in the Premier League you need more robustness, because the pace of the game and the power of the game tests your body to the limits. Okay, in the Championship I think of it more as being more of a purely physical thing, dealing with the knocks, the bruises, the week in week out, Jordan, the 46 games, the intensity of the season. I think that's a slightly different balance. So with the Premier League, for me, it's about power. In the Championship, it's about stamina. Now, when you look at Smallbone and Teller and the way they've developed over the last 12 months from their Championship loan spells, instead of being on the fringes in the Premier League, those have been massive years the last year for those two, where they've come on leaps and bounds. Teller's part of a Championship winning side. He scored loads of goals. The fans loved him at Burnley. Smallbone chipped in well at Stoke in a team that wasn't great, scored goals, got assists, got Ireland international caps, and he has come back. He has definitely come back stronger and better for the experience. Now, when I look at Tino Livramento, I think, would it be a problem if he didn't go to the Premier League this summer? No. I think after an injury, and him still being 19, and it was the rigours of the Premier League that got him injured in the first place, I would think this season in the Championship could actually be the making of him long term, coming back from that ACL. So, if he stays, fantastic. And I think if he stays, he should treat it as a really good year to develop himself. So we'll see.
We'll see. Adam, just finally, tee up what's coming up then. So you're going to be joined live by Alfie House in the not too distant future.
Yeah, he did a really nice interview with Jason Wilcox, the Southampton's director of football, and in it Jason Wilcox was really open and spoke candidly about where we are here at Saints, the ambitions, and how much promotion he's basically, there's no hiding away from it. They want to go straight back up. Now, I thought that was really interesting, and I wanted Alfie to expand on it and tell us what he took from it, because if I'm a Saints fan, I want to hear that. I don't want to hear, well, nothing's for certain, we're going to do our best, blah blah blah, and everyone being cagey. Jason Wilcox just went, here we go, this is what we want to win the Championship. So we'll see. And by the way, Jordan, Matthew Ryan, the former Brighton keeper, starts for AZ Alkmaar. I've just had the teams up here this afternoon. Geordie Classy starts as well, which is great. And those are the two names that people will look out for sure. Jesper Karlsson was the second highest scorer last season. He starts as well. So we will see what AZ Alkmaar have got, but we know they've got a good pedigree in the last couple of years, and they'll be good opponents for Southampton this afternoon.
Adam, for the moment, thank you very much. Adam Blackmore there, live from St Mary's, ahead of Southampton against AZ Alkmaar, their final pre-season friendly, ahead of their Championship opener against Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough. You'll hear that live on BBC Radio Solent on Friday night with Adam and Joe Teslam. BBC Radio Solent Sport, 25 minutes past 2. I'm Jordan Clark. Great to have your company this afternoon. We are with the Cherries at home to Atalanta in their penultimate pre-season friendly. Let me just bring you the Atalanta headlines from their team news as well, in terms of a couple of names that you might recognise. David Zappacosta, the former Chelsea player, he starts at Atalanta this afternoon, and the former Everton frontman as well, Ademola Lookman, is also in their starting lineup. Rasmus Højlund, of course, attracting a lot of interest from Manchester United and PSG as well. He is on the bench by the looks of it, so not starting, but he is here and part of the matchday squad. Whether we see him on the pitch at all. We'll have to wait and see. Right, so let's head to Fratton Park now, because we're also with Pompey this afternoon, and Cliff Pledge will be alongside former Pompey goalkeeper Alan Knight to bring you commentary of their final pre-season friendly against Bristol City. Cliff, good afternoon. How's Fratton Park looking? Glorious, I'm sure, in the sunshine.
Good afternoon, Jordan. Afternoon, everybody. Yes, it's been quite sunny here. Been here a couple of hours. It's been sunny the whole time. Still waiting for the crowd to turn up in force. Maybe, hopefully, they'll turn up at the last moment, enjoying a pint maybe beforehand. But yeah, Portsmouth's final friendly before it all kicks off next Saturday, and the first one they played at Fratton Park as well. So the first chance home supporters will get to see up to 12 new players that John Mousinho has brought in this summer, so a chance to familiarise themselves if they haven't been out to the away games. First chance to see some of the new faces for the visit of Bristol City, Championship side, who've had a pretty good pre-season themselves. Both sides were, Bristol City have been unbeaten in their pre-season. They've scored 30 goals in 6 games. Portsmouth were unbeaten until midweek, where I understand they were a bit lacklustre away to Wimbledon, where they lost 1-0. But of course, I suppose it's not necessarily results that count in the friendly games, but a test for Pompey against an established Championship side this afternoon, Jordan.
And I know you don't get to see a lot of Pompey these days, Cliff, not as much as you'd like, but who are you looking forward to seeing in action then, in terms of the players and perhaps the new signings that have come in?
Well, there's just so many new signings, it's hard to know who may well be the new stars, but 2 new goalkeepers, haven't we? And I'm sat next to a goalkeeper in Alan Knight, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on if they get a half each. Will Norris and Ryan Schofield, who's only just come in from Huddersfield. 3 changes from the team that started at Wimbledon, and that is Marlon Pack back as the captain. He had a back spasm and was rested on Tuesday, and Colby Bishop, who was suffering from fatigue, their top scorer from last year and player of the year, he is back today. The other change, not sure if everyone was necessarily expecting, but Conor Shaughnessy is in at the back in place of Riley Towler, who is a former Bristol City player who probably would have liked to have started this one, but it's Shaughnessy in for Towler, and Pack and Bishop back in, with Stevenson and Kamara, who started at Wimbledon, dropping to the bench for them. As I say, Pack and Bishop, looking forward to seeing them particularly, but all the new signings, be looking to see how they sort of fit in and get along.
Cliff, thank you. Let's bring Alan Knight in, shall we? Knightsy, great to have you there this afternoon. How are you? How much are you looking forward to the new season?
Yeah, like everyone, I mean, I think Cliff just alluded to it. I mean, it's great to have players that you call your own, really. I mean, we have relied a lot on loans in the past, so there has obviously been a big turnover in personnel, so it's just how quickly they will fit into what obviously the manager wants. But no, I mean, like everyone, start of the season, every club, everyone's looking forward to what they hope to be their season.
What do you make of the 2 goalkeepers that have come in then?
Well, to be honest, Will's not had a great deal to do in the games that we've already had. The goalkeepers haven't been overly tested, so that one's a difficult one for me to answer at the moment. Will's looked solid in what he has had to do so far, and for Ryan Schofield coming in, I think this would possibly be the first game that he's had pre-season since leaving Huddersfield. I think he's been training up north. I'm not sure which side up there, but he hasn't had any match time at the moment, so if he does get some minutes today, that would obviously help him going forward.
Knightsy, how important would you say it is that they find a number 1 now, that they can settle in for, you know, at least a few seasons? Because there's been a lot of changing in that position, certainly since McGilvery left, and I mean, you know how important it is to have stability in that area of the pitch.
Well, obviously the goalkeepers union are going to be very much along what you're saying. I think it's very important to have a stable defence, and the goalkeeper's a big, massive part of that, I think. And having your own keeper rather than one that's here on loan, nothing against the lads that have come and done that job. That's all part of the modern game, I know. But for me, having someone, as you've just said, that's going to be looking to be the number 1 for a few years, obviously he's going to be looked to having a bit of a challenge from the boys coming through as well. But I think that is how the club is looking to build and progress from now on.
How impressed have you been with John Mousinho so far then? And is he the man that's finally going to get them up this season?
Well, obviously, hopefully so. I mean, John, a very knowledgeable, articulate and really nice guy. Unfortunately, nice guys don't always win, as we know, but he's got his ideas and his thoughts, and I think he's going to be given the time and the opportunity to get them across to everyone. So yeah, I think, as I said, I've said it earlier on, everyone's always at this time of year full of optimism and looking forward to the coming season.
Knightsy, great stuff. Thank you very much, Alan Knight, alongside Cliff Pledge this afternoon. So we should just point out the full commentary. They're providing that on the Pompey Club website and stream if you want to hear the game in full. On the radio today, we're dipping in and out of all three of our matches, so we will be heading to Fratton Park at different stages of the afternoon to take in some of that commentary from Cliff and Alan Knight. We're also here at the Vitality Stadium, myself and John Williams for the Bournemouth game against Atalanta, and Adam Blackmore is at St Mary's as well for their pre-season friendly against AZ Alkmaar. The Cherries, like they were last season since Bill Foley arrived, really trying to ramp the atmosphere up inside the ground, a party atmosphere ahead of kickoff. They've got a DJ in again. He's over on the far side in the corner in between the north stand and the east stand. John Williams is tapping his feet away alongside me to the right. This is new for you, isn't it?
I'm not sure I know too much about this song.
I didn't think you would.
Not familiar. Incidentally, we haven't got the team sheets yet, but I'm just watching the Atalanta warm up, and I think he's got 23 on his shorts. He is a box of tricks. He's just done 3 I've never seen before.
Well, I think that's the substitutes, so you might have to wait until the second half, hopefully, to see them.
It is 23, isn't it? I think
they all seem to be doing keepy-uppies at the moment.
No, these were on his own.
These were different level,
This was
were
a
they?
trick, Sam.
There you go.
I didn't know you could get your foot that much round the ball.
Incidentally, very quickly, did you see this yesterday? Bournemouth fan.
Yes.
You were on Adam's show on the Sports Hour, weren't you, to talk about it?
Yeah, well, Adam pointed it out to me.
25 years since your testimonial.
Incredible, isn't it?
Where's that time gone?
I don't know. It is absolutely flown by. I mean, it was a great night. We had a great time, and I actually got to stand the last 15 minutes. I wouldn't stood behind the goal, so that was a first for me. I really enjoyed that.
Did you not play in it? You must have come off. Did you come off?
That was well done by then.
I can't believe you didn't make an appearance in your own testimonial.
No, sorry, I couldn't. Not that night.
BBC Radio Solent Sport just coming up to 25 to 3. We've got Alfie House from the Southampton Echo on the way for you shortly. He's going to be speaking to Adam Blackmore. Before any of that, though, let's recap the team news for you on the home of live sport across the south.
The only place to hear every Saints, Cherries and Pompey game live.
BBC Radio Solent Sport.
We'll start here at the Vitality Stadium, then when the Bournemouth players are out warming up away to our left-hand side in front of the main stand. They've got Neto in goal, a back four of Adam Smith, Ilya Zabani, Marcos Senesi, and new summer signing Milos Kerkez at left-back. Lewis Cook, your holding midfielder. Then it's a really attacking four, mainly of wingers, although some of them can play in the 10 role as well, of course. Jaden Anthony, Ryan Christie, David Brooks and Justin Clivett. Who's going to play where? We'll have to wait and see. Dominic Solanke leading the line for the Cherries again. New signing goalkeeper Andre Radu named on the bench this afternoon. Your headlines from Atalanta in terms of familiar names that are starting today: Ademola Lookman, I'm sure you'll know that name. David Zappacosta as well, who had a spell with Chelsea. Rasmus Højlund, who's been all over the back pages recently, target for Manchester United, the striker, and Paris Saint-Germain are putting a bid for him as well. He is here today, but he is on the bench just warming up down in front of us, impressing John Williams with some of his keepy-uppy skills at the moment. Right, let's head to St Mary's next. It's Southampton against AZ Alkmaar. That's with Adam Blackmore.
Yes, Jordan, just 6 days to go until the opening championship game of the season at Hillsborough. 4 players survived from the side that lost 3-2 to the Cherries on Tuesday night. They start again. Charles, Manning, that's 2 players. Alcaraz and Adozi. The full team for Saints: Bazunu in goal, Livramento, Stevens, Charles and Manning, the back four. Midfield of Ward Prowse, Smallbone and Alcaraz, and Teller, Adam Armstrong and Adozi as a front 3. Walker-Peters, Onuachu, Adams and Lavia are on the bench. There is no sign of Stuart Armstrong. along with the absent Duyar Chaleta-Sarr, who's becoming a father again, I think, I suppose for the first time. But I'm sure Alfie House will tell me. As for AZ Alkmaar, Jordan, we know they've done very well in the Dutch League. They finished 4th last season, and former Saints midfielder Jordi Classy, he's amongst their starters this afternoon, as is the former Brighton goalkeeper Matthew Ryan, the Australian, who I'm sure will have one eye on the Ashes like the rest of us.
Update from the Ashes coming shortly, but let's complete the set first to Fratton Park. Final pre-season friendly for Pompey this afternoon as well. They're up against Bristol City. Cliff Pledge is watching this one.
Yeah, Pompey's last game before they kick off against another Bristol team next Saturday. They've made 3 changes from midweek, where they lost their first friendly defeat at Wimbledon. Will Norris is in goal, Joe Rafferty and Conor Ogilvie the fullbacks, Regan Paul in the centre of defence alongside Conor Shocknessy, who's in for Riley Towler. In the middle, Marlon Pack, Tom Lowry and Joe Morrell. It's 4-3-3 today, and Pack is back after a back spasm. Also back Colby Bishop up front. He's alongside Gavin White and Anthony Scully. Those 2 are new signings. There are 12 new players at Fratton Park, and this will be the first chance the Fratton faithful will get to see some of those. Schofield, Swanson, Taylor, Stevenson, Sadie, Yengi, Raggett, Sparks, Devlin and Kamara on the bench for Pompey. I'm here with Alan Knight for commentary on Portsmouth and Bristol City.
Cliff, thank you very much. You're on the headlines this afternoon then. The Ashes 5th and final test for the men. England batting again in their second innings and taking control as well on day 3. They are 189 for 2, so they lead Australia by 177 runs. Both openers have gone. Zach Crawley dismissed for 73 in the end. Ben Duckett went for 42. Stokes batting at number 3 because Moeen Ali was off the pitch due to a groin injury, so he has to wait before he can come into bat. So Stokes has gone in at 3. He's not out on 37. Joe Root alongside him, not out on 31. We'll keep you across that scoreline as the afternoon progresses. In the Women's World Cup, good news as far as Kira Walsh is concerned. In that nasty knee injury she went off with yesterday in their game against Denmark, has been confirmed that it's not an anterior cruciate ligament injury. So although still a nasty one, not perhaps as bad as first feared. So that is good news. And in Formula 1, Max Verstappen has edged out Piastri for the sprint pole position in Belgium, the Grand Prix at Spa this weekend. Coming up next then, we're going to head back to St Mary's. Adam Blackmore's going to be joined live by Alfie House from the Southampton Daily Echo. We're with you through until 6 o'clock this afternoon. You can listen across FM, DAB and online as well via BBC Sounds. This is the home of live sport across the South.
Follow us on Twitter at Solent Sport for all the breaking news and team news from across Hampshire, Dorset and the Isle of Wight.
BBC Radio Solent Sport.
Jordan Clark.
BBC Radio Solent Sport.
Just coming up to 22-3. Sun still shining here at the Vitality Stadium. It's a lovely day on the south coast. We're going to hear from Andoni Iraola, the Bournemouth head coach, before we get to kick off at 3 o'clock. And we're going to hear from some fans as well. I've been outside speaking to some Cherries fans, and Adam's been roaming around outside St Mary's as well. But before any of that, let's head back to St Mary's. Adam Blackmore is joined live by Alfie House from the Southampton Daily Echo. Take it away, chaps.
Thank you, Jordan. I think it's a Southern Daily Echo, to be totally accurate, isn't it, Alfie?
Yeah, that is correct. But Sun's fun.
Jordan working in the media as a professor as well. You'd think you'd get that right, wouldn't you? Okay. Now, the good thing is that whilst all the Premier League prima donna journalists have all disappeared, this young man and myself are going to be working alongside each other for the next 10 months, making sure that Saints fans get all their coverage written, online and on the radio between now and what we hope will only be the start of May and promotion and not the playoffs and all the drama. Alfie, thank you for coming on the show. First of all, what do you make of that team? We always like to guess this is the starting 11 on the final friendly. We always like to look for it as we get towards next Friday. Presuming Ward-Prowse is around for another couple of weeks, do you see that as close to a starting team?
Yeah, I think it probably is the starting team. The only one I would say that comes out is Shea Charles for Jan Bednarek when he's fit. But presuming Livramento and Ward-Prowse are still here, they'll be involved. And I think Adam Armstrong has pretty much played himself into the 11, because you probably would have had Che Adams in this time 2 weeks ago. But I think Adam Armstrong clearly on form is the best pick.
It's interesting, when I spoke to Adam Armstrong, he talked about how at Blackburn he looked so comfortable at Reading, playing off the front and playing with Alkmaar and linking people in and bringing. And he said to me, well, that was my job at Blackburn. You know, he scored 28 goals for Blackburn before Southampton signed him. So it's something he's comfortable with. I'm still, if I was Shea Adams, I'd be thinking, well, if I'm not starting, I'm definitely trying to get a Premier League job.
Yeah, and I think that's fair enough. But I think, to be honest, I think the club would probably be happy to get their money back on him and a bit more. And Adam Armstrong, you mentioned, I mean, he hasn't even played in his best role for Southampton. You know, obviously he wasn't quite good enough for the Premier League. That was pretty clear, wasn't it? You know, he didn't make the impact that 15 million quid and the Danny Ings shirt would have made. But he didn't play up front. He didn't play as a 9. That's what he wants to do. That's what hopefully he'll get the chance to do under Russell Martin. Even after Martin told me that he thinks he's kind of similar to Joel Perreault in Swansea City, in the sense that he can play in a 10 and, you know, even like as an 8 and a wide player as well. But I think Adam wants to be number 9 and we'll give it to him. Yeah.
I think it's been a frustrating time for him in the Premier League for sure. Now he can prove himself and show his worth. Now look, what I really loved yesterday was your article with Jason Wilcox, Southampton new director of football. And the top reason I loved it, apart from the fact this man's going to ruin our conversation on the PA, but the top reason I loved it was that he basically he wasn't coy, he wasn't diplomatic about ambitions, he didn't say, well, of course we're hoping to do our best, blah blah blah. He went, we want to win the championship. Now, to me, if I was a fan reading that's music to my ears. Was he that physically strong when he's speaking? Was he that determined when you were face to face with him?
Yeah, well, he's very clear that is the aim. But to be fair, I think, you know, Russell Martin said that as well. However, what Jason did say as well is that although he wants to win the championship, that is the aim. He did still call for time. You know, the big message that he wanted to get across to supporters, but it's not going to be immediate. You know, they're trying what he calls the most difficult way to play football, which I think, you know, back in my head I was thinking if it's that difficult, then try something more simple. But it's the best way to play football, they believe, and they think it will take time. But clearly, they think it will take a matter of months and not years. And I guess we judge them come May rather than come start of September, because they've got a hard start to the season.
When I've spoken to him casually by the tunnels and stuff in pre-season, he's definitely a man who comes across as being very direct. When you were sitting down properly with him for a long period of time, it's obviously his first director of football job, and it's not always former players that do well in those jobs. Sometimes it's people that have come from more administrative side of the game or sort of club side of the game. What did you take away from him as a person and as a person they'd employed to do that job?
Well, as a person, I think he's generally phenomenal. I mentioned in the article, but we sat down for 55 minutes, almost an hour, and by the end, I think the club communications guy said, you know, we can wrap this up now, and Jason said, no, it's fine, you know, let's carry on. And then once the recording's off as well, we kept chatting all the way down into the car park, and then he waves us off to go. So as a man, I think there's a brilliant human there, and he made reference to the fact that clearly, you know, he won the Premier League, he's been relegated from the Premier League as well as a player, and he made the decision to stay and captain the team. You know, he alluded to the fact that other players may not make that decision as well. But in terms of a bloke, I think they probably couldn't have got a better man. It's like you said, it is his first senior role, and I imagine there's a lot to it, but him and Russell Martin, they seem to get on really well. They're working together, so it's positive.
And I think Russell Martin seems like a decent man as well. So actually, as high as go, we look at the ownership and the mistakes they've made, we've talked plenty about in the last 12 months. Feels to me that when you're talking about the hierarchy of the playing side of the club, I think, although it's too early to judge, and I don't want to judge yet, but it feels like they've got it right.
Well, it does. I mean,
principle.
Yeah, when I was out in Turkey, I was very lucky to meet a lot of the people as well. And obviously, Phil Parsons, the new CEO, is another one of those who, really interesting guy, charismatic, happy to talk, happy to sort of give you an insight into what he wants to do with the club, even if it's not on record. And I think it is, like you say, the people are the most important thing. They obviously made a lot of wrong decisions last season in terms of who they appointed, both from a managerial perspective and probably from a human perspective as well. So
it's all set up. Are you feeling confident, Alfie? I've been asking fans today how confident they're feeling, and although I feel like we're going to be in limbo until September the 1st, and that's I do feel quietly confident. And actually your article with Jason Wilcox helped that, because like I said, I feel like he's not going to say that unless they're prepared to put their hands in the pocket to replace some of the players they sell.
Well, that is the indication that if Ward-Prowse or Livramento and when Romeo Lavia goes, they probably will replace them. So I think in terms of personnel and players, they'll have one of the best squads in the league. They've got one of the biggest budgets in the league. Everything is set up for it to happen this season, but I don't think it'll be that easy, I must admit. I mean, you've obviously covered the Championship. I don't think it'll be that easy. I think that it will take a long time probably for this to start working. I think September as a month is particularly hard as well. They go away to Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Hull, who are going to be atop this team this season. Leeds, Leicester to play as well that month. So I think it could be that by October they're actually sitting in, hopefully not, but 8th, 9th or 10th.
Well, that's presuming they're not going to beat those sides, is what you're saying. But
I don't think they'll beat
you're
all of
right.
them.
I think the October international break will be a good time to take stock. September international break comes just after the window, and it's a lottery for everybody in the first month or so. And they'll need that international break to reorganise with players in and out, I think. And then you've got time to bed that in. I think you're right. September's massive. And actually, but August for me is a decent start. I think Sheffield Wednesday are a big club. It's a great place to go, Hillsborough. I've commentated there a number of times. Terrific atmosphere. Big game as well for the start. You know, the players won't feel like they're not in the Premier League playing at Hillsborough in front of 40,000 people. Sheffield Wednesday got their own problems, but you know, they'll be excited because they're back in the Championship. That's a heck of a night to get through. Saints get through that. You can then sort of look at the bar of Norwich, who are a perennial up and down side. And you always think Norwich are going to be there, like West Brom. You expect them to be there, you know, yo-yoing every year with Watford. So I always think you get a good early gauge there. And then they've got a chance to win at Plymouth. I know Plymouth have gone up. I know home park's not easy, but you know, it should be. I think you beat Plymouth. You know, QPR at home, winnable game. So you're right, September's massive, but I think we should be excited by the first couple of months, not daunted by it. But you're right, away to Sunderland, away to Middlesbrough, two playoff sides, we'll have an acid test, won't we? There, by the time we've done that and Leeds, we'll be okay. I think we'll know
100%. And also we spoke about it before we went on air today that it's just that excitement feeling of actually you might actually win a game at home. You might not lose 1-0 again, you might score some goals, you might lose 3-2 occasionally, but it's going to be a lot more goals, a lot more fun this season. And from what we've seen in pre-season so far, I've really enjoyed the way they're playing. I know that Bournemouth was a really bad start, but they came back in the game, they scored some good goals. And Reading, I know Reading are a poor team, but they play really good football. They're clearly trying to take in what Russell Martin has said. I'm a lot more excited about this than I was 6 months ago.
Who's the player of the season going to be? Should we go Alcaraz or Adam Armstrong?
Yeah, I mean, Alcaraz was mine, the 2 months ago, but I think Will Smallbone might have a serious season, honestly. I think Russell really likes him. He's a great player.
He has played really well so far. He looks so different for a year in the Championship. He's excellent. Alfie, thank you. I'll let you get back to your online reporting on the Southern Daily Echo, Jordan, not the Southampton Daily Echo.
Why do you have the Bournemouth Daily Echo then and not the Southampton Daily Echo?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a good question, but no, I don't know. It's just what it is. Southern, because we used to cover Eastleigh and stuff as well, so it's not just Southampton.
I'm not having that as an excuse. They cover full town down here.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, you're right, because they've also got a Dorset Echo, Jordan. So the Bournemouth one can't be Dorset, so it's got to be Bournemouth. Maybe it's to do.
I'll have a word and we'll see what we can do.
You do that,
Jordan, definitely. Great stuff,
cheers,
guys. Alfie, thank you very much for joining Adam there. Brilliant stuff. If you missed any of that, tuned in halfway through, remember you can go back and listen on BBC Sounds as well. If you just click on the Listen Live link, you can scroll the wheel back 10-15 minutes or so and you pick up that interview in full. Solent Sport live on BBC Radio Solent from the Vitality Stadium this afternoon. We'll be heading back to Fratton Park as well. We're going to take in the starting moments of their pre-season friendly against Bristol City this afternoon from 3 o'clock, and we'll be bringing you some commentary here at the Vitality Stadium. John Williams is alongside me for Bournemouth against Atalanta, and Adam will be commentating on some of the friendly involving Southampton and AZ Alkmaar as well at St Mary's this afternoon. So that is how we are looking through until 6 o'clock. Of course, we'll bring you some reaction as well after the full-time whistle goes from 5 o'clock. I'm hoping to be joined live by some of the Cherries, either management staff or playing staff. Adam will head down as well to do the same at Saints, and Cliff will bring you some reaction from John Messino a little bit later on as well. So plenty still to come. On the way now, though, let's hear from Bournemouth's new head coach, Andoni Iraola. He held a press conference yesterday ahead of this game today, so I managed to catch up with him after the press conference. Did speak to him in there about the injury news. Just to update you on that, in the press conference he confirmed, and we mentioned this earlier, that Marcus Tavernier is going to be out for the start of the season. They don't think they're going to have him back before the international break due to a knee injury, which is a big blow. He's walked around the ground today in a really heavy looking knee brace as well on his left leg, and Lloyd Kelly is also out injured at the moment with a calf injury. Both of them, I think, getting injured out in Marbella on the pre-season training camp. Lloyd Kelly touch and go for the first game of the season against West Ham in a couple of weeks' time. Here's that interview now then with Andoni Iraola, who started by reflecting on his new signing, goalkeeper Andre Rado, and what he'll bring to his squad.
I think he already has proved himself in a very high level. He's performed for big clubs, so I think he's used to play in a level that we will require here in the Premier League. And also the first feelings with talking to him, he's someone who speaks a lot of languages. He will settle in quickly, so I think he will be ready soon.
And obviously that means Mark Travers has gone on loan. Still a very young goalkeeper, came through the academy here. Does he have a future at the club in your eyes after his year's loan?
Yeah, of course he has. I think everyone speaks very, very, very good things from him. The feelings I've had when he has been training with us is that he's a very good goalkeeper, and I think it was in his own interest and in the interest of the club thinking in the future that he could go on loan, and that's the reason we made the change.
You've spoken about your injuries, so you're going to be without Marcus Tavernier and Lloyd Kelly as well, maybe for the start of the season. When Lloyd is fit again, he played a lot at left back. Obviously you've signed a new left back. From what you know about him, having maybe not seen too much of him training and playing so far, do you see him more as a left back or centre back again?
I think he can play both positions. I think probably as a left back we will ask him to be more offensive, because past season as a left back he used to build up with three, and he kind of was in a mixed position a lot of times, who was kind of in the tactics of the squad. But I think he can play as a centre back and he can play as a left back, because he has the physical ability, because he's strong enough for a centre back and he's quick enough to play in wide.
And you've spoken about your strikers as well, and maybe that not being a priority in terms of bringing in a new face at the moment. Midfield maybe the priority. Have you seen enough in your strikers then that you have the required goals and movement that you demand of a striker?
Yeah, we've had Dom and Keith since the beginning. We also have the option with Justin to play there, and now I want to see Antoine, because we haven't seen Antoine. He's also a player that hasn't played a lot for the club, but the club signed with the hopes that he could help us, and I want to see him also how he trains, how he plays, and to have a more clear idea.
And traditionally, what kind of striker have you played with in the past in terms of sort of your lead man? Because you have a lot of different strikers. You have your big man in Kiefer Moore, perhaps more mobility in Dominic Solanke.
I think the best thing is to have different options. Players, strikers who can go wide, who can attack the space, strikers that are more kind of more finishers inside the box, who can get a little bit lower to help us in the build-up also, and that's what every coach wants.
And in terms of the fitness levels as well, another thing that you're keen to get up for the start of the season, is that very much with the press that you demand? That's why the fitness needs to be so high?
Yes, I think if we want to play high, we want to press, and we want to recover the balls as we did the other day, we need high intensity from the players. There's no other way. So sometimes it's difficult to maintain it for 90 minutes. That's why for me players that don't start are very important, because we will need, especially in the forward positions, we will need the subs to maintain this high intensity level. For me, it's much better if one player can play, 55-60 minutes to top level, and then another player comes and play the same way for the rest of the minutes. Much better than if one player is kind of, I'm not going to push because it's going to be hard for 90 minutes. So now I prefer the first options.
And given all that, how close are you to knowing your 11 for West Ham? Will we maybe start to see something close for the next two games?
I don't know. I have my ideas, but here the ideas change from day to day. You see some things in training, you start, because we started analyzing West Ham, but still it's not so far, but it's far. Also, the market is open. We know also probably some changes are happening, so we will start thinking exactly in the starting 11 once we play against Lorient.
There you go, Bournemouth head coach Andoni Iraola speaking ahead of today's game against Atalanta, their penultimate pre-season friendly here at the Vitality Stadium, where we have just been given our first taste, John Williams, of the new, for the 2023-24 season, pre-match motivational video, which now features a little scene with Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, giving a bit of a motivational speech in it, which of course Michael B. Jordan, who featured in those more recent films, which I think that clip was from, having not seen them myself, now a part owner in Bournemouth, may have something to do with it. Ted McDougall on there, I think. Steve Fletcher as well, a famous moment for him. And we had the Chris Temple more as well over the speakers. What do you make of this? It's getting you revved up for a Premier League fixture, because I'm sure this is what they're going to be playing before the game.
Yes, I can see where they're coming from, but I don't need too much motivation, mate, to come to theatre of being. It really does it for me every time I walk in, so I'm just pleased to be here again.
Sun still shining. Fair few empty seats as we look around the ground at the moment. We mentioned earlier that if you bought a ticket to this game or the one against FC Lorient, then you get yourself a point, which is what you need to be able to be in sort of the running to get your hands on Premier League tickets when they become available. Willow, lots of young fans around as well, which is always good to see. And I know Bill Foley, the owner, is really keen, and Jim Frivola, who we spoke to at the end of last season, the new sort of head of business, in terms of getting new people inside the ground. I'm not sure how the regulars feel about that, in terms of, there are only limited seats inside Dean Court, but he wants new faces in through the turnstiles.
Well, let's build another stand behind the goals. All right, might be convenient. Get some more people in there, but no, it went back years and years. It went back to the buckets at the brick in town, where there was a demonstration held by our fantastic fans to keep the club going. But tough times never last. Tough people do, and we've got some tough ones here, I'll tell you.
In terms of the players not involved today, Marcus Tavernier, we mentioned earlier, is just taking his seat sort of in the director's seats away to our left-hand side, with Lloyd Kelly, who sat down as well, and Phil Billing alongside them, who's not in the squad today. So I don't know if that's an injury at all. It wasn't mentioned in the press conference yesterday, so maybe a question we might be able to put to Andoni Iraola after the game, but he's not in the matchday squad today, Phil Billing, but is sat away to our left-hand side, just having his picture taken with Marcus Tavernier and Lloyd Kelly as well. On Lloyd Kelly, Willow, what did you make of what Iraola said there? So he sees him still as a centre-back or a left-back, but when he plays at left-back, they're going to ask him to be more attacking, which, perhaps isn't a natural part of his game.
No, but I still think, for me, when he's fit, he's the number one. He's the number one centre-half I'd pick.
Really?
At centre-half.
Over Zabani, over Senesi, over Mepham.
Yeah,
Why?
I just think he's got all the attributes. He's got a great left foot as well. He can ping balls across field. But I just think he's strong in the air. He's quick. And when you're quick as a centre-half, that can make all the difference, I'll tell you.
And that point you make about the balls he can ping is a really key one with Andoni Iraola, because he likes that diagonal out to his wingers to get them up the pitch. He likes the long ball as an option. And there's been a lot of talk about how key Marcus Senesi is going to be in terms of playing that ball out from the back. But you're right, Lloyd Kelly, more than capable of that as well. And that has been something they've deployed in the past with him as well.
Yeah, make no doubt about it. I think he'll get better as he's getting older. I know he's not that old yet, but one thing you find about being centre-halves, you're learning new ways of doing things every season, and he's just been a bit unfortunate with, thank goodness it's only a calf. I was worried about when I heard he was injured, it was something more serious, but calves at the most can take 3-4 weeks to sort themselves out.
There was just that issue last season though, wasn't there, with the home fans and booing Lloyd Kelly quite directly, and I just wonder what that's done to his mindset and mentality about how he feels about this club. And because if your own supporters are booing you,
he was on the halfway line and he turned them and went backwards, didn't he?
No, there was an incident over in the corner as well. You remember Phil Billing came out and had a go at the fans because they were booing Lloyd Kelly when he was on the ball.
He's competitive, Sometimes, listen, we've all been booed in our time.
I just said whether he might think, well, they don't really want me here. If something comes up, you know, I might go somewhere else.
I can remember I had a spell on the newsstand on the over far side. Some lads started having a go at me, and I had to go back. So I understand it when they get frustrated. No problems there.
That's John Williams, former Bournemouth defender and assistant manager. You're listening to Solent Sport. We're live from the Vitality Stadium. We're live from St Mary's and Fratton Park this afternoon. As we wait for kick-off here, let's start making our way around the grounds, shall we? We're going to dip in for a bit of commentary on all three games. So we've got Bournemouth against Atalanta, and we've got Southampton against AZ Alkmaar. First, though, we're going to go to Fratton Park in their final pre-season friendly. Portsmouth are taking on Bristol City in your commentary team there. Alan Knight is alongside Cliff Pledge.
Fantastically observed minutes of applause for former Pompey player who passed away this week, Tony Prescott. Thoughts with his friends and family. We are underway now with the match here at Fratton Park, and Bristol City get us underway. Go in from right to left. An early attack for them, and Paul at the back makes a touch. It's got to be cleared. Out to the right hand side. And a throw up on halfway for City. We've scored 30 goals in 6 pre-season games, 29 of them in the first 5. This is probably a contender for their Sterner's test, and certainly Pompey's Sterner's test as well. Robbins with the throw. Pat looking to get a touch on the ball. Bouncing around in the middle of the park. Scully with moving out, deciding he's got to play it back into the middle. And Pompey playing it nicely around the back. This is Paul. Rafferty. Well, they've gone forward and they've gone back, but they're keeping the ball. And the crowd seem to appreciate that. Will Norris, the number 1, wearing the number 33, gets the ball forward. Bishop. Lowry. This is an opportunity. White has got the ball out. His cross is blocked by Cam Pring. Pring, one of 3 players on City's books that used to be on Pompey's books. But
and there's Cliff Pledge at Fratton Park, continuing his commentary for the club's streaming service and working for us this afternoon. I'm Adam Blackmore. This is BBC Radio Solent Sport with 3 friendlies for you this afternoon. We'll bounce around the grounds as we go through the next couple of hours, with Cliff at Fratton and Jordan at Bournemouth against Serie A side Atalanta. And here at Southampton, Saints have started strongly against Dutch Eredivisie side AZ Alkmaar. And in the middle of the pitch for AZ Alkmaar is Jordi Classy. Nice return for him with the captain's armband down for Alkmaar this afternoon. Of course, they were Europa Conference League semi-finalists, beaten by West Ham by the odd goal in each leg. Had their reputation tarnished by their fans' behaviour in the second leg in the Netherlands. But Southampton here with confidence on the ball so far in the opening 3 minutes. Again, under Russell Martin, playing out from the back, tapping it around the edge of their own penalty area, giving a few people kittens, but they've kept the ball well. And Livramento down the right has got Nathan Teller a first chance to attack the defence. Teller, right end edge of the box, twists and turns, gets to the byline, tries to cross it and wins a corner in the empty away end here at the northern end, away to my right at St Mary's, because there are no Alkmaar fans who have travelled for this game, although the official number I was given is 4. So, corner to Saints in front of the northern end. Alfie House on air discussing things with me earlier. He was thinking there'd be more fans here today, but I reckon there will be more on Tuesday night. Here comes the corner from Ward-Prowse. Smallbone can't connect. Hacked away by Alkmaar. Oh, and then volleyed, not as he wanted, I don't think, by Tino Livramento, but Alkmaar still need to deal with it out of their own half, and it is with Jordi Clasie. Now, off the top of my head, Saints fans, the one goal I remember from Jordi Clasie, I think I remember one against West Brom, maybe, and I feel like I want to say one against Arsenal in the League Cup, but somebody will correct me on Twitter, at Adam Blackmore, I'm sure, as Bazunu has it away to my left and chests it down. Saints keeping the ball well against this Eredivisie side, and Smallbone, who looks like he's going to be a very key player this season, has come deep to collect between the two centre-backs, who are Stevens and Shea Charles. Shea Charles playing on the right this afternoon, Stevens on the left, Livramento and Manning the fullbacks in front of Bazunu, and then a really excellent midfield trio of Smallbone, Ward-Prowse and Alcaraz, who hasn't been getting much of a rest, Charlie Alcaraz, in pre-season. He seems to have played most of the minutes, and he's on the ball now. Gives it back to Smallbone. Blue shirts around him. He finds an outlet in Shea Charles, the 19-year-old former Manchester City boy, who's again playing at centre-back. Thought he was going to be Lavia's replacement, but as things stand, with Ward-Prowse still here, he's in defence. Tall young man, and Smallbone in a tight area. Three players around him trying converged on him. Mihailovic was there as well, and Meenans, and they couldn't get him, and now Saints trying to attack down the left, and Dozy can't reach it before it's cleared away by Pantalis Hadzidakakos, the Greek. And yeah, I did say that right, honestly. And actually Alkmaar managed to get the ball, and then they win a free kick because Mihailovic is dragged down by Ryan Manning. Nice little professional foul, stopping and breaking. And the referee this afternoon is Hampshire FA man Keith Stroud, who's been on the circuit for many, many years. 0-0 here. Clouds have gathered over St Mary's again. We did have bright sunshine in pre-match hour, but the wind has just got up. There's a nice breeze. If I was a footballer, I'd be delighted that the great summer we've had has come to a grinding halt just in time for the start of the season. No one wants to be playing in those shirts in 30-degree heat, that's for sure. We'll see what August brings. Now Alkmaar, as per a stereotypical Dutch side, playing out themselves from the back, of course, and neatly playing it from left to right, out to the right wing. Eventually Ernest Poku is tackled by Manning, and it's a throw into Southampton. Crowd here, will it beat the 13,000 odd that were here for the Bournemouth game, 13,049? I don't think it will, but I did notice, and I'll say this live on air. Now, I got an text last night from the club, as people who are signed up to the website, I think, saying get your ticket today because they go up £5 tomorrow. And I was thinking, why do you put tickets up by £5 just because people come on the Saturday and don't buy them on a Friday? It makes sense to me. It probably puts people off, but I'd rather these matches be £1 and 25,000 people be here, and lots of kids get to see them play who don't usually get the chance, and probably wouldn't have done in the Premier League because of the prices for the last decade. Alkmaar playing it around in their defence. Pantelis Hadzidiakos has it. Out it goes to the right hand side, dealt with by Vangelis Pavlidis. Pavlidis, the one of two Greek brothers in the squad. His brother, Pavlidis' brother, is a top striker last season, 12 goals. 8th minute, and Bournemouth early stages against Atalanta, of course. Pompey against Bristol City. Reaction to come from all three camps in the last hour of the show after 5 o'clock. And the ball out of play as Saints put Alkmaar under some pressure, which is good to see. So here it's 0-0. 0-0 in all our friendlies, I think. Nearly 8 minutes gone here. In the cricket at the Ashes, I can tell you England 224 for 4 in their second innings. They've got a lead of 212 on day 3 with 6 wickets remaining. They're in a good position, England. Crawley made 73, Duckett 42, Stokes came in at 3 and made 42, Root is 55 not out. Only Brooke has failed so far in the England innings, out for 7. We have a goal at the Vitality Stadium for Jordan Clark.
Thanks, Adam. Welcome back to Dorset. Bournemouth a goal down early on against Atalanta, the Serie A side. Joaquim Meli with the goal after some good build-up play from Atalanta. Cooper Miners rattling the woodwork as Bournemouth come forward through David Brooks, nearly an equaliser, should have done better through the middle of the park. It's a comfortable save in the end for Juan Musu in goal for Atalanta. David Brooks one really, essentially, should have tucked that away, but yeah, the goal coming in the 8th minute. Coop Miners rattling the woodwork, Bournemouth unable to get it away, and then Mela was there to put it into the back of the net and give the Italian side the lead. Let me just run you through the Bournemouth team then, and we'll get a word from John Williams on what he's seen so far. So it's Neto in goal, sporting a electric green goalkeeper kit this season with, I think, orange stripes on the arm. Then a back four of Adam Smith at right back, Ilya Zabani, Marco Senesi, your two centre backs, and new signing Milos Kerkez from AZ Alkmaar is the left back. Lewis Cook, the holding midfielder, in front of the back four, and then there's a very fluid midfield four. It looks like, for the most part, in this opening 10 minutes, Jayden Anthony's down the right, Justin Kluivert's down the left. Ryan Christie is playing sort of as the second midfielder when they're defending alongside Lewis Cook, and then he's up alongside David Brooks in a sort of a double 10 role, if you like, more when they're attacking, and Dominic Solanke is leading the line. So that's really your Cherries 11 for the start of this friendly. They are in red and black, new kit for this season, black shorts, black socks, shooting for our left to right towards the Ted McDougall South Stand. They are a goal down at home to Atalanta. I'll do the Atalanta side for you in a moment, but John Williams, just on the goal, but also what you're making of this Cherries formation and line up in that sort of attacking midfield four in behind Solanke as well.
Yeah, it's very, very attacking minded. We've just seen Senesi just come out of the back four and put Brooksy in, and Brooksy should have scored, to be fair. I mean, he hasn't really caught the ball at all, and it's quite easy for the goalkeeper, but it's certainly an attacking minded setup. Atlanta just having a bit more of the ball than us at the moment. We like to keep the ball, just knocking it around at the back.
Yeah, so 11 minutes gone here. Bournemouth 0, Atalanta 1. Meli with the goal, the Atalanta number 3. Their team, then Musu in goal, then it's Toloi, Meli, Coop Miners, Palisic, Adamola Lookman, a name I'm sure you'll be familiar with, the former Everton, Leicester man, Martin de Roon, Jamisti, Ruggeri, Scalvini, and David Zappacosta, another name that you'll recognise from the Premier League, former Chelsea player. A couple of recognisable names on their bench as well. Sead Kolasinac, the former Arsenal man, and Rasmus Højlund as well. Very highly talked of, very highly rated, maybe heading to Manchester United or even Paris Saint-Germain during this transfer window. He's on their bench as well, so excited to see him potentially if he comes on. We may be seeing a little bit more of him maybe next season in England. And there's a heavy tackle in there, as you'd expect, from Adam Smith going over the top of his man. Free kick given to Atalanta. They're in white tops with very thin blue hoops and a black strip down the side. They're in white shorts and white socks. Decent crowd inside Vitality Stadium. I'd say pretty much full. There's a few empty seats in the north stand away to our left, and opposite us in the east stand where the away supporters would normally sit. So that's that right-hand third of the stand.
Quite a few there, fans.
There's a few. There are a few Atalanta fans in there. Yeah, you can see the tops in there. You're spot on, Willow. And the south stand actually, as I look away to my right now as well. Yeah, quite a few empty seats in there, but still a decent turnout for a pre-season friendly, and as we've been saying, a rare opportunity to see Bournemouth in action these days, because getting hold of Premier League tickets is almost impossible. You're listening to Solent Sport. I'm Jordan Clark. John Williams alongside me here at the Vitality Stadium for Atalanta against Bournemouth. We're also at St Mary's as well, where Southampton are 0-0 with AZ Alkmaar, and at Fratton Park as well, where as far as I know it's still Portsmouth 0, Bristol City 0. Pompey fans, if you've tuned in home for commentary of that, it's available in full today only on the club website. They are providing full commentary. We are just dipping it in and out of the 3 games here at the Vitality Stadium. The big Ukrainian centre-back Ilya Zabani with the ball at his feet at the back. They'll try and work it down this right-hand side. Good feet, brilliant feet from Ryan Christie in a really tiny bit of space there, surrounded by 3 Atalanta players, and somehow weaves his way out of it, and Bournemouth will switch it out to the far left-hand side in front of the East Stand and Milos Kerkez, who made an electric start to life in a Cherries shirt at St Mary's on Tuesday night for the win over Southampton. Looks like a real player, Willow.
He does. He made a big impression. I keep wanting to call him Kerky after the famous kitman that was here for 30 years.
Poor ball from Smith down the right hand side. Jaden Anthony can't get on the end of it. David Brooks wins it back. That's better from Bournemouth through the middle, but they are cut off. It'll be a real good test for them today against Atalanta. Finished 4th in Serie A last season, so they will be back in Europe in the Europa League next season. Lovely back heel from Christie, looking for the on-running Brooks inside the box. Good tackle in there by Jamisti, and it will be in the end a throw-in to Atalanta down this near left-hand side. Let's head back to St Mary's. So we Southampton against AZ Alkmaar. Adam Blackmore's watching.
You'll love this, Jordan. 13 minutes gone, 14 now actually, 0-0, but in the 13th minute, Jack Stevens decided, I don't care if it's a friendly, I'm going straight through Evangelos Pavlidis, the Alkmaar striker, who upset him with a little scrape on the back of his leg, and Jack Stevens said, that'll do for me, you're going down, mate. And he sent him to the floor with a nasty challenge. Keith Stroud had to intervene. The Alkmaar players rushed up to Jack Stevens. Bazunu tried to drag him away. All sorts of handbags going on, and in the end Jack Stevens got a yellow in a friendly 13 minutes into the game, and now I guess he's walking some sort of friendly tightrope, Jordan, I guess.
Adam, interestingly on that, I mean, Jack Stevens' future, Richard Hughes joined us, didn't he, at the end of last season, said Bournemouth would be very interested in the conversation about Jack Stevens and having him back, but it's gone very quiet, hasn't it? And I mean, with him starting today, as you said, who knows what the future might hold for him.
I think Saints will have made it clear they want him. I think unless they were going to get very good money, and I have spoken to a couple of people around the place today who've said that they're very glad, not fans but people at the club, very glad that they're not going to be walked over by Premier League clubs when it comes to selling players. And if Bournemouth put in a bid they thought was nowhere near, they're not going to entertain those things. Jack Stevens, to me, seems to have settled down. He seems to be in good spirits, Jordan. I don't think he's behaving like a man who wishes he was somewhere else. I think he's got a key role to play. He might think, finally, after the amount of managers that have played him and dropped him and played him and dropped him at Southampton over the years, and I think Jack Stevens now is going to be a crucial part of this team. And I think Russell Martin will have said to him, mate, the way you play out from the back when you're playing well, you'll do for me. And I think that'll be important, because Jack Stevens does like to bring the ball out,
and that's the thing, isn't it? Because when he came here to Bournemouth, it was Ralph, wasn't it, still in charge then, and there was clearly an issue there, and absolutely, I know they've gone through a few managers since, but if he's got one, and you'd think he's going to play it Saints, he's going to struggle to get in the start. Well, he's not going to get in the starting 11
here. He's not going to get in the Bournemouth team, is he? Yeah, and I think Bournemouth need to buy one more. So I think if they were to do that, then we know Stevens isn't going anywhere for a start off. I think once that's done, and I don't think Stevens would make Bournemouth better. With all due respect to Jack, he's a good player, but he's not going to improve what they've got, is he? I think on their day, I think you would say he's no better than Zubani or Senesi or Mepham. Maybe he as good as one or two of them, but no better. So if they want to improve Bournemouth, I think their ambitions will be higher. So we'll see. By the way, Carlos Alcaraz, the ooze you heard, well, for a first-time shot 20-odd yards out that went a couple of yards wide of Matthew Ryan's left-hand post after he was set up by Adam Armstrong. And those two, Jordan, look like the richest source of attacking material for Southampton, because Reading last week on Tuesday as well, and already today twice with Armstrong shooting over, although he was narrowly offside. The Alcaraz-Armstrong partnership looks really good.
Adam, for the moment, thank you. Let's bring John Williams in. Willow, in terms of what you've seen from Cherries then, you just heard from Adam there about maybe attacking wise where Saints are looking most threatening. What about Bournemouth at the moment?
Oh, I would just see this one through, just a ball down the left-hand side as we're looking. Dominic hasn't really got into the game, and the two times when they fed the ball to him, he's given them away. So first thing we need to do is hold the ball up so we can get up the pitch. But at the moment, it's pretty much Atalanta who are calling all the shots.
Not much has come wide, has it, so far? A fair bit through the middle, and those two tens, if you like, in Christie in Brooks when they are alongside each other. I said I'd say they look liveliest, most dangerous at the moment for Bournemouth. I thought it was really interesting what Andoni Iraola has said in his press conference and to us in his interview as well ahead of today's game. It's a long ball forward over the top, looking for Coop Miners. Too much on it. Neto's able to come out of his 18-yard area and gather, and the flag was up for offside anyway. But the striker not a priority for him and for Richard Hughes and Neil Blake at the moment in terms of the transfer market. A midfielder is. So I said to him, you're happy with what you got then? You're confident there's enough goals there? Because we know Solanke struggled for goals last season. He's obviously got Kluivert that can play through the middle from the sounds of it. But again, he's out wide again today. So then you're left with Kiefer Moore and Antoine Semenyo, who we just haven't seen a great deal of, have we?
No.
May be a great prospect for the future. I find that a little bit surprising. I don't know about you.
Well, maybe he obviously sees it. Christie.
Lovely turn.
Clipped, great turn, just got clipped. Free kick, too far out for a shot, unfortunately. It'll just come wide, I imagine.
Just a Cruyff turn, really, from Ryan Christie, just rolling the ball around his instep and away from Giorgio Scalvini. And it's Scalvini that's gone down injured. I think after that tackle. He's back up on his feet now.
I think he was waiting for a referee in case he got booked. That's all he went down for.
It's a pre-season friendly. Well, it's just an anomaly at St Mary's today with that yellow card for Jack Stevens.
You wait and see.
The free kick to Bournemouth about halfway inside the Atalanta half. It's back to the halfway line by Lewis Cook. Yeah, so a new striker, not a priority. Are you surprised by that?
Well, look, the way he's set up, I mean, it's almost like playing three up front. And we haven't shown it as of yet. And at the moment we're not that far into the game where you're going to start making some serious changes, so we'll just give me another 20 minutes and I'll tell you then.
We spoke about the wide areas as well and the options he's got there now.
Anthony's had a couple of crosses.
And we didn't even talk about, because he wasn't there, Marcus Tavernier in terms of where he plays. He's got to be surely a starter. But when he's back fit,
of course he starts. But at the moment, you can't. If he's injured, you can't do anything about it.
Jayden Anthony coming down the right-hand side, oohs and ahs as he skips past three different Atalanta players. Ademola Lookman eventually nicks the ball back for the Italian side, and they'll go back to their goalkeeper Juan Musu, who's in a highlighter orange. He's got the full kit this afternoon. Top with short sleeves, shorts, socks,
played by Senesi.
Matching boots and matching goalie gloves as well, John Williams, in highlighter orange.
Bit too much orange for me.
You're not going to miss him this afternoon, that's for sure. Milos Kerkez with the ball in front of the east stand. They are bathed in sunshine over on that side. It's a little cooler under the main stand in the shade where we are at the moment. Bournemouth on the halfway line. Dominic Solanke back working hard. Another element that Andoni Iraola is saying he likes in his strikers, a striker that can offer him everything, going forward, goals, but also dropping back when needs be as well and putting the work in. And that was exactly that from Dominic Solanke as the ball again is over on the Bournemouth left, the far side in front of the east stand. Justin Kluivert arriving from Roma over the summer, son of the former Barcelona striker Patrick Kluivert. I wonder when we'll see him in the stands for the first time. I've had a little look, can't see him there watching his son this afternoon. I'm sure it won't be long. Here's Zabani, looking forward to seeing what he can offer this season, his first full season with the Cherries following his January arrival. Of course, was injured when he arrived, so we only saw bits and bobs of him towards the end of the campaign. And maybe what kind of partnership he can form with Senesi as well, as Dominic Solanke's wrestled off the ball by Giorgio Scalvini again.
That was a forearm smash, wasn't it? He's just cleaned him out and the referee's 5 yards away.
That was more of a cuddle, I would say.
I don't think Dominic thinks that.
You've got to be stronger than that, haven't you, Willow?
Someone who gets you in a headlock on the football field, it's usually a foul.
23 minutes gone at the Vitality Stadium. You listen to Solent Sport. We're live on BBC Radio Solent this afternoon. Final pre-season special for you before the campaign gets underway properly next weekend. We start things off with Southampton on Friday night away at Sheffield Wednesday. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff. We'll be on the air from 6 with the Sports Hour, and then start the build up properly from 7. Adam and Joe will be at Hillsborough to bring you commentary of that. Then the following Saturday will be at Fratton Park, or the day after. Southampton's League One campaign gets underway at home to Bristol Rovers. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff. The sports show back properly from 2 o'clock with build up to that game and live commentary. FC Lorient is who Bournemouth play next weekend in their final pre-season friendly. That's a 5 o'clock kickoff here at the Vitality Stadium. Of course, that's the side that Bill Foley, the Bournemouth owner, bought a small stake in last season. Atalanta come down the right hand side and Senesi gets a block in, goes behind for a corner. Bournemouth, of course, don't start their season properly until the weekend after. So the where will be 12th of August, won't we, where they are at home to West Ham to start their Premier League campaign. It's 1-0 to Atalanta here, the goal coming from Joaquin Meili inside the opening 10 minutes. Let's take you back to St Mary's and find out what's happening between Southampton and AZ Alkmaar with Adam Blackmore.
Well, we might be close to a goal, Jordan. You never know when James Ward-Prowse is looking at a free kick from 25 yards out. 25 minutes gone here almost. 0-0. Been a bright game. I'll go through some moments in a minute. Manning dummies it. Ward-Prowse crosses it. Smallbone heads it wide, but it came off a defender. Southampton will have a corner here. The sun's back out at St Mary's. Final pre-season friendly before we all head up to Hillsborough for Friday's Championship opener. And despite the disappointment of relegation from the Premier League and the fallout and everything, you can't help but get excited by the start of a new football season. Now, just had the second yellow of the game already within 25 minutes. Keith Stroud dishing them out. And the second one went to Mies de Wit, the Dutch left-back for Alkmaar, who fouled Nathan Teller, who megged him. But it was 6 minutes after they'd had a bit of a coming together on the edge of the box when De Wit thought Teller had pushed him over, and Teller actually went through on goal and should have scored, and Ryan came out and smothered it, and then Dozy was fouled, I thought, for a penalty in the 20th minute. Keith Stroud didn't give it, but we've had one shot from the visitors, AZ Alkmaar. Jesper Karlsson, who was their second highest scorer last season. He's a tidy player off the left wing. The Alkmaar number 11, he cut in off that left hand onto his right foot and drove it low and forced Bazunu into his first save low to his right of the afternoon. Alkmaar just warming into the game and enjoying a bit more of the ball than they have, and Rashedli Bozoa, their centre back, gives it to Karlsson. He chipped it forward early, looking for the run from Evangelis Pavlidis, the top scorer. Him and Jack Stevens have calmed down since they had their contretemps earlier on, and Stevens is on the ball here, midway inside his own half. BBC Radio Solent Sport. 1-0 to Atalanta at Bournemouth, 0-0 between Pompey and Bristol City, 0-0 here, but a bright opening to the game. Elsewhere in sport, of course, lots of the focus today on the Test match. England 242 for 4 as Saints attack through a Dozy down the left wing, in and out of defenders, and then it comes off him last and it goes out for a goal kick. In the end, it was good defending from Bazoa, and Matthew Ryan will have that. So England making good progress, and you think they were all out for 283 in their first innings. They're 243 for 4. It's a lead of 231 against the Aussies. Joe Root has moved on to 59, not out. Johnny Bairstow looking for some runs after some indifferent form with the bat after his bright start. He's 14, not out. The top 4 all have got at least 40. The only man to fail so far, Harry Brook, who made 7. Stark, Hazelwood and Cummins and Murphy have a wicket apiece. So that's how the cricket is at the Oval. And here, Saints trying to move the ball and move the Dutch side to side. Young Shay Charles playing at centre-back still in Stevens. Stevens finds a run from James Ward-Prowse, and the two old stagers, long-serving players, almost combined. Ward-Prowse couldn't latch onto his ball as Ryan came off his line to the edge of the penalty area. Down the right-hand side, Pavlidis has gone out there, but he's been caught in possession here by Ryan Manning, and then he bundles Samadozi over. Pretty cynical stuff from the Greek. And it's going to be a free kick for Southampton out on the left-hand side, about 10 yards or so from the corner of the penalty area. Saints are playing from left to right towards the northern end, and on Tuesday night, of course, that northern end had 2,500 Bournemouth fans in it, and it has no fans in it from AZ Alkmaar this afternoon. 28 minutes gone, 0-0. How can Saints improve their set pieces? Can they get better this season with those? Will that be Ben Parks, the tactics and insights analyst's role? The new man, of course, assistant manager Matt Gill. Will he be involved in that? Still got Carl Martin, of course, the first team coach from last season. Here comes the free kick for Saints. Hung to the back post, too much on it. That was a bit of an anticlimax. Ryan Manning apologises to his teammates. It remains 0-0. So let's go in and check on Fratton Park, shall we? Cliff Pledge is there commentating for us this afternoon and for Pompey's iFollow service. So I'll just drift it up and let Cliff come in to your ears and we can see how Pompey are getting on.
Yeah, as you said, I don't think it was a foul. I think just caught him from behind, and I think he's winded him. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him there. He's just walking away. We saw it with one of their lads a bit earlier. Went down, but was soon back up on his feet. I think the referee did well there. Fair play to him.
Yeah, Scott, England under-20 player, played in the recent Euro. Hails from Guernsey, once had a spell trials with Saints and the Cherries. Pompey take the throw it straight back. Back on all frequencies as well on BBC Radio Solent, where we can update people that it's Portsmouth 0, Bristol City 0, but Bristol City looking pretty good when they go forward. On that occasion, great defending from Regan Paul to outmuscle Sam Bell and just see the ball safely out of play for a goal kick. Closest we've came is Naki Wells hitting the post for the visitors. 3 years ago he cost them nearly £5 million, the international for Bermuda. Closest we've come to a goal so far. Will Norris gets it to Shaughnessy. He's played it out of play, gone forward about 20 yards or so. It's a throw to Bristol City. Lovely sunny afternoon at Fratton Park. City are forced to go back. Pompey have got a lot of bodies back. Everybody back in the half again, except Colby Bishop. Thinking Pompey were doing a 4-3-3 today, but it's almost 4-3-2-1 at times. But Bishop is often the lone player up there when everyone else is back. Max O'Leary, Bristol City's goalkeeper, plays a ball which finds Harry Cornick, plays it over his head. Good skills from Cornick. Pompey have to be careful. He hits it with the outside of his boot, but diving to his left, comfortably dealing with the ball, was Will Norris. Not overly tested by that effort from the centre forward for Bristol City.
Yeah, I think Bristol City, as we said, we thought they were both going to be 4-3-3, but Bristol City seem to have a more fluid type of formation, if that's the way of putting it, and I think Pompey have had to adapt to that. And in the last few minutes, without wanting to speak too soon, I think Pompey have been able to identify the areas that they need to be careful, especially with the 20 out that was getting caught in between Rafferty and Paul. But they've won possession again there.
Attacking down the right wing of Bristol City, Sam Bell's the only player up there for the cross. It didn't get anywhere near him again. It was cut out by Regan Paul, who's already looking a tidy player. On the first chance the home fans will get to see him, up towards Bishop, but 2 or 3 players around him got it away for Bristol City. And it's a throw to the Robins on the far side, as we look at it from our vantage point at the back of the South Stand today. My last game of last season was here for the Portsmouth Senior Cup final to see Horndean beat Fareham Town on penalties. That day only people were allowed in the Fratton End. Today everywhere people are allowed anywhere else except the Fratton End, and pretty good, and for a while a very noisy crowd. I'm sure they'll come back to life when Pompey give them something to cheer. At the moment it's Bristol City who are keeping the ball, and Cam Pring gets it forward. Opportunity for Jason Knight to run towards goal. Finds Pring again. He's into the air. He goes down. It was a good tackle. Silly to appeal, I think, there. They still do appeal, but the referee, Sonny Gill, gets it right. Gavin White with a good challenge, and it's going to be a corner and not a penalty.
Yeah, not a penalty. Not a penalty for me. I know I would say that. And again, you have seen them given in the past, Cliff, haven't you? But no, I think the referee's done okay today so far. But yeah, the game seems to have definitely settled down from an early spell of sort of like quite frantic football, but City seem to be holding most of the possession at the moment.
Bristol City corner to come in from the left hand side, delivered in, good header, gets it away. I think that was Shaughnessy back there who got the header in. It was a good corner and it needed a good flick defensive header to get it out of trouble, but the ball comes back into the area, the keeper's out, the keeper's there. Will Norris read the flight of that one well and was never in any danger at all.
No, good take. The corner earlier was well, great ball in, to be honest, and thankfully missed everyone out, but a good delivery from the 7, I think it was.
It was a good corner and a particularly good header to get it away. That was just sort of Joker's wild there. Whoever got the first touch was either going to put it in or get it away, depending on what way they wanted to. It was a very dangerous ball. And now right on halfway on the far side, it's a throw to Bristol City, which they're taking their time to take. No rush to get it forward. Yeah, expecting to see Cal Naismith and Ross McCrory today, but not in the squad. Only former Pompey player in Bristol City's squad is Cameron Pring today. Pring, who had a loan spell. 15 games on loan a couple of years ago. And on the other way around, I think we got a Riley Towle signed from Bristol City to Portsmouth. Must be disappointed to be watching on. I'm sure he'll want to get on for in the second half. Was reading online that when they play Bristol Rovers, his dad is going to be in one end cheering for Rovers, I think, and his mum is going to be in the other end as a Bristol City fan cheering for Pompey. Oh sorry, they're Bristol City fans, Bristol Rovers fans, and he's a Bristol City fan in a Bristol Rovers family. So next weekend, when Bristol Rovers are in town, mum's in one end, dad's in the other. And it is going to be a set piece over on the far side, a corner for Bristol City. 10 minutes to go until we reach the 45, and Alex Scott's going to take this one. His corner just now from the left caused havoc. What can he do from the right hand side? City corner again is a good one. Again, it's Shaughnessy who gets the header away, gets it out of defence.
Welcome back to Vitality Stadium, where Atalanta have just gone 2-0 up against Bournemouth. We'll head back to Fratton Park in the not too distant future, where it's still Pompey 0, Bristol City 0, and the same scoreline as far as I know at St Mary's as well for Southampton against AZ Alkmaar. But it was Coop Miners who hit the bar in the lead-up, build-up to the first goal that Atalanta scored, which was put into the back of the net by Mele, who's just tapped one past Neto to double the Italian side's lead. So Bournemouth 0, Atalanta 2. John Williams, interested to get your take on the defending so far from Bournemouth.
Well, again, self-inflicted. Senesi gives the ball away on the halfway line. We're all out of shape, and as you say, just it's a one-on-one with the keeper and just lifts it over him for a 2-0 lead. So here's Kluivert.
Nice diagonal ball forward from Zabani from right to left. Kluivert just about brings it under control. This is Cherry's new signing, wearing the number 19 shirt, vacated by Junior Stanislas at the end of the season. Interestingly, Junior Stanislas hasn't really been any announcement on sort of his future yet, but he was at St Mary's, sat behind us with Simon Francis on Tuesday night for that Southampton friendly. So we'll try and dig around and see whether that's maybe in the build-up to a potential role with Bournemouth off the pitch moving forward. I don't know. As far as I know, he hasn't announced his retirement from the game. Could be wrong on that one. Corner to Bournemouth away to our right-hand side. I will come to some of your messages that you've been sending in a moment as well. David Brooks, though, will take this corner for the Cherries. So good to see him back in the red and black and scoring as well on Tuesday night. Left-footed corner, it's under the crossbar. Solanke with the header, cleared off the line and smashed in at the back post by Marcos Senesi. Bournemouth get themselves back in the game. The Cherries 1, Atalanta 2. Marcos Senesi, the Argentinian defender, smashing one into the roof of the net. John Williams.
Yeah, I like that one. That was tales of years ago. A flick on at the near post. Senesi gets a nice bounce and he smashes it into the roof of the net. Nicely worked set play. That gives the crowd something to cheer about.
Good flick on from Dominic Solanke as well. Strong play there. In and amongst a lot of white shirts.
I'm just really surprised more teams don't use that. Once the ball is flicked on, it's really difficult to defend because you don't know which way the ball's going to go, to the left of you or the right. I mean, we had an awful lot of success. I remember with little Richard Cook and Mark O'Connor taking corners for me, and I used to just get a little glance, and defenders found it a nightmare to defend, but that one worked perfectly.
And good to be talking about a positive set piece as far as Bournemouth is concerned for a change, Willow, because they still seem to have those problems defending them at the other end, which I know Andoni Iraola has spoken about. Of course, we left last season heading out on our summer holidays with Gary O'Neill saying that was his priority over the summer, was to get the set pieces sorted. Obviously he was relieved of that duty, but that problem still needs to be sorted as far as Bournemouth are concerned. A lovely ball from Ryan Christie out to the far left hand side with his left foot, sweeping pass, killed dead by Milos Kerkez, and Bournemouth have to work it back to the centre circle and then try and come through the middle, and David Brooks, who goes down holding his ankle, and that's not a good sign. Back up on his feet, that's much better from Brooks.
Christie's been the best player so far.
And Senesi again charging forward from centre back, this time down the left flank. Ryan Christie, people speaking about him on Tuesday night, Willow, as well. He ended the season really well, didn't he, for Bournemouth when he came back into the side.
Well, he started it really well in these pre-season fixtures. He catches the eye more than... Oh, that's a foul, referee. How many times are you going to let him do that?
He does get a free kick, Dominic Solanke, this time. Halfway inside the Atalanta half, dead centre, which Ryan Christie will place the ball down. I mean, if they can get Christie firing and consistent, we know what a talent he is. It was a bargain when they got him for, what was it, a couple of million from Celtic a few seasons ago now, and we've seen him a lot off the left, haven't we? But it looks like he's looking right at home through the middle in these pre-season games so far for Bournemouth.
He's the one who's caught the eye.
It's just the finishing, Willow, isn't it? He really struggles to find the back of the net. I know he did score, obviously, on Tuesday night. If he can improve that side of the game, what a player you'll have. Given away on the halfway line, but it'll be a free kick to Bournemouth. Not much happening here, with the Cherries having got themselves back in the game through that Marcos Senesi goal. They trail by 2-1 against Atalanta. Let's head back to St Mary's, another pre-season friendly. Southampton's final one before the season starts on Friday away at Sheffield Wednesday. They're up against AZ Alkmaar. Adam Blackmore's watching.
Yeah, Jordan, thank you very much. Still 0-0 here, just under 4 minutes to go till half-time. Carlos Alcaraz has had the only decent effort since you were last with me, flashing a shot just wide and high of Ryan's left-hand post from about 19 yards out, just outside the box, snapshot. And it wasn't a bad effort from the young Argentine. Alkmaar trying to come into the game, Southampton still pressing high, and looking at this Saints lineup, speaking to Alfie House earlier, of course, from the Southern Daily Echo, we were discussing it. Is it the starting lineup at Sheffield Wednesday? Presuming no players are sold in the intervening period. Of course, that might happen. Well, we've got Bazunu in goal, Livramento, Stevens, Charles and Manning. Bednarek to come back fit. Ward-Prowse, Smallbone and Alcaraz in midfield three. Looks high quality for the Championship. Teller, Adam Armstrong and Adozie out on the left-hand side. Adozie has put a couple of balls in, getting down to that byline, but hasn't found a red and white shirt yet. But he was tagged, I thought, on the 20th minute inside the box and should have probably had a penalty. Keith Stroud pointed to the goal kick and kept everyone on tenterhooks. The yellow card to each side. Stevens and DeWitt, the left back. But to be fair to Alkmaar, they play a neat, tidy brand of football. Georgi Mihailovic in the middle of the park and Jordi Klasi trying to pull the strings most of the time. They're happy to keep possession, as Saints are doing. We're used to more of this, of course, with Dutch sides, and everyone living in the wake of total football and Johan Cruyff all those years ago and the great Ajax side of the early 70s. And here comes the stocky figure of the booked left back Mies de Wit. Plays it inside. I thought there was a foul then from Alcaraz. Referee should play us on because Ernest Poku might get put through here down the right, and he does, and he pulls it back, and a little touch from Jack Stevens just took it away. from Jesper Karlsson, who would have probably slotted that home first time from about 12 yards out. And the touch from Stevens' outstretched boot deflected it just behind the winger. And Southampton, that's I think as dangerous as Alkmaar have been in the Saints' penalty area in the whole game. Poku has some pace down that right wing. And then the ball given away. Blind. And apologies from Adam Armstrong. Didn't know where he was passing that. Now their top scorer from last season, the striker Pavlidis, takes it out to Poku. Alkmaar are midway inside the Saints half. In front of the Kingston stand on the far side. Little shadow there. Faintest shadow because the sun isn't particularly bright. And it's helped out back to DeWitt down this left wing. Has Teller going backwards, but he drifts inside him. They've had a few good battles, the two of them. Gets it back off Sven Meenens. And now it goes all the way back to Pantelis Hadzidiakos, the centre-back. DeWitt again, and Niemans looking for a 1-2 with Karlsson, and he feeds Karlsson back down, but Livramento's got that covered, and although he's touched it, he deals with it, plays it to Shea Charles. Was he tagged? It's a goal kick. No problem for Southampton there. So we're into the last few seconds of the first half here. When we get there, I'm sure all the games will roughly finish at the same time. I'll hand back to Jordan. We can see if Cliff is available to give us the Pompey details at half time, and then Jordan will go through the rest of the sport. We might hear from Saints women's head coach Marianne Spacey-Cale, and of course Jordan will bring you the latest from the Ashes and everything else that's going on in the sporting world this afternoon here on BBC Radio Solent Sport. And our final warm-up, some fans of course getting in touch, some of you wanting commentary on all the games. Well, that's going to start rocking and rolling from next week. We did bring you commentary on Tuesday night of Southampton against Cherries. This afternoon we're trying to get round all our three clubs between 3 and 5 o'clock regularly to paint the pictures for you of what's going on, with Saints and Pompey starting next weekend of course. Every Southampton game, every Portsmouth game, every Bournemouth game in every competition live on BBC Radio Solent. You might take it for granted because we always do it. We always know it's a privilege. Bazunu clears any second now. We'll have the half-time whistle. Long ball out to this right-hand side to Teller. Thought he was fouled, and Keith Stroud agrees. And they'll have one more free kick perhaps in stoppage time to actually create some trouble. But in the end they tap it, take it short, and Livramento gets a 1-2 with Alcaraz, drifts across the pitch midway inside the Alkmaar half, and then gives the ball away. Poku can't control it. I think Keith Stroud will get his whistle in his mouth any moment. He might give Saints one more chance to attack, as they have it on this right wing with Nathan Teller. And in the end, with it going back to Shea Charles near halfway, Keith Stroud might run out of patience. Stoppage time at St Mary's, and back out. Stevens on out to that left wing to Manning. And the referee says that'll do for the first half here at St Mary's. Interesting half, competitive, no doubt about it. Saints have absolutely had the better chances. Jesper Karlsson, the only chance for Alkmaar midway through the half, forcing the only save out of Gavin Bazunu, who just had to go low to his right, fairly routine stave. But Saints have had a couple of chances. Alcaraz has hit 2 shots just wide, one in the 17th minute, one in the 32nd, and actually in the 18th minute probably was Southampton's best chance. It didn't look like it was going to be much, but when Teller bundled over the left back Mr. Witt, the referee didn't blow, and he came into the penalty area from the right hand side, 1-on-1 with Matthew Ryan, and the former Brighton keeper smothered it nicely. So honours even at half time here at St Mary's. It is Southampton 0, AZ Alkmaar 0. Jordan.
Adam, thank you very much. Half-time whistle has just gone here at the Vitality Stadium as well, where it is Bournemouth 1, Atalanta 2. The goals coming first of all from Atalanta. They went 1-0 up through Meili, and then Coop Miners making it 2-0. Marcos Senesi with a good corner routine from the Cherries to the front post, flicked on by Dominic Solanke, and then smashed into the roof of the net by Marcos Senesi to get Bournemouth back in this game. Haven't defended brilliantly, the Cherries, with Senesi, Zabani, Kirkes and Smith, their back four, and midfield's looked a little vulnerable as well in front of the back four. But I would say Ryan Christie has been very lively, sort of playing it in between Lewis Cook, the defensive midfielder, and David Brooks in the 10 role. Haven't seen a great deal of Clivert or Jaden Anthony out wide. Dominic Solanke, his usual sort of industrious self, hasn't had too much of a sniff in front of goal so far though, Dominic Solanke. Substitute options for Bournemouth in the second half. Andre Radu, their new goalkeeper. Will we get a first look at him? He was signed a couple of days ago. Chris Mepham, Dongo Watara, Joe Rothwell, Kiefer Moore, Hamid Traore, James Hill, Gavin Kilkenny and Ben Greenwood. Should Andoni Iraola, the Bournemouth head coach, wants to call upon any of those substitutes, we'll wait and see how long it leaves us. They're all down in front of us, warming up away to our left-hand side as well. Atalanta have Rasmus Højlund on the bench. Strong reports, as I just look on Twitter at the moment, that he is closing in on a deal with Manchester United. Even though Paris Saint-Germain are interested, apparently he only wants to go to United according to the reports. So it'll be interesting if he gets on the pitch at all. I would doubt it if the move is that close, but he is here, sat on the bench. Coming up during the half-time break, we're going to hear from some supporters. I've been speaking to some Cherries fans. Adam's been out speaking to some Southampton fans as well. We'll bring you an update on the cricket as well. And good to see here at the Vitality Stadium, only the WBO Cruiserweight champion as well, Chris Billam-Smith, who is watching in the posh seats away to our left-hand side, just a few months on from lifting that belt above his head out on the pitch down in front of us on what was an incredible evening and his victory over Lawrence Okoli. We will, of course, bring you up to speed with what's happening at Portsmouth as well, and we'll bring you second half commentary from Fratton Park, where they are 0-0 at half-time against Bristol City in their final pre-season friendly. The whistle has now gone there. That confirmed on Pompey's Twitter account. So Pompey 0, Bristol City 0. Cliff Pledge and Alan Knight will bring you little snippets of commentary in the second half, and I'll try and get to some of your messages as well. Thank you if you sent them in so far. At Solent Sport on Twitter is where you can get in touch with us today. If you've got a question for Willow, you've got a question for Adam Blackmore, got a question on the Pompey front, maybe for Alan Knight for after the game, then do fire it in and we'll try and put it to them. At Solent Sport on Twitter, 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp, make Solent the first word, or you can text 81333, again starting your messages with the word Solent. BBC Radio Solent Sport, it is just gone 9 minutes to 4.
Jordan Clark.
BBC Radio Solent Sport.
Ian Wilding will be sitting in for Fern Buckley this Monday from 6, and then a reminder from 7 Pompey fans on Monday nights, live on the radio and on BBC Sounds on your smartphones and tablets. You'll get the 2023 Portsmouth Fans Forum. Andy Moon live from the Victory Suite, Victory Lounge at Fratton Park. He will be joined on the panel by John Messino, the Pompey boss, Andrew Cullen, the chief exec, and new captain Marlon Pack as well. They will be taking your questions. Live audience, the microphone will be going round to take questions from the audience, but also you can get in touch with Andy as well. Send it in your usual way. So if you've got a question for the panel, at Solent Sport on Twitter, 08000 321 333 on Solent, or 81333 on the text. Start your message with the word Solent. If you start getting those in on Monday morning, Andy, I'm sure we'll put as many as he can to the panel. That is on the air, though, live from 7 until 8. Solent Sport, we're at the Vitality Stadium today. We're wrapping up the pre-season friendlies for our sides. Bournemouth do have another one to come next weekend against FC Lorient. We're going to hear from some Cherries fans in a moment, but let me just bring you up to speed with what's happening in the cricket at the moment. Right, let's hear from some supporters, shall we? We're going to hear from some Saints fans in a moment, but we'll start with the Cherries fans. I managed to catch up with a couple outside the Vitality Stadium ahead of today's game against Atalanta to find out how they're feeling about what went on over the summer and the season to come.
Oh yeah, it's James Newnham. I live in Parkgate near Fareham. It's my first game today. First home game. I went to the away game last week against Southampton, which was really good.
How long have you been a Bournemouth fan?
I've only turned recently, to be honest. I've never really been a proper supporter of any team, but my girlfriend lives in Christchurch, so it's a local club really. So, and they're with the new owners, exciting project on the hands.
What do you make of all the changes then over the summer? So Gary O'Neill out, Andoni Iraola in.
It was a bit of a surprise really, because I think obviously no one really expected them to do well this last season, but Iraola's done a good job in Spain with Vallecano, and I think most of these clubs nowadays are relying on these young managers to come in and with no experience, but doesn't mean it's not going to bring any success, but it would be interesting to see what happens this season.
What are you most looking forward to with him in charge now? Is it the style of play that seems like it's going to be more attacking?
I'm not really. I don't know what his style of play was like in Spain, but watching them last against Saints, it was very free flowing, especially with Kirkes on left wing. He was definitely coming forward a lot. I think he'll bring a lot of pace to the team, and probably a lot of Spanish players as well will be linked. But it'll be exciting to see.
Any areas of the team in particular you feel they still need to strengthen? They're talking about midfield being a priority.
I think, someone alongside Billing, also centre back, because there's a lot of rumours regarding Senesi at the moment, whether he stays or goes. But I think as another midfielder slot inside next to Billing will be priority, I think.
My name's David Chilcott.
How long have you been a Cherries fan?
Since '62.
Wow, so you've seen a lot.
I've seen a lot, going on.
How do you feel about how it is at the moment?
I think it's very good with a new Bill Foley on board. Maybe might get a new stadium later on, never know. But no, he looks, he's brought some good players in. So we're interested to see how they perform today. Looking forward to it, really.
What do you make of the big call over the summer then? So Gary O'Neill out and Donny are in?
A lot of supporters weren't happy the way that was done, but
what about you? Were you happy with O'Neill, or
he was
wanted a change?
He was all right, but he didn't have the charisma of what Eddie did. Eddie was sort of like a very charismatic manager. With Gary, he seemed very bland. I think that didn't come over too well to supporters, but he did well to keep us up. Let's don't take it away from him. But it's the Premier League. It's the hardest league in the world. So obviously Bill Foley and the team have sort of seen this manager. I think he's a Spanish guy.
Seems like it's going to be more attacking this season. You must be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I saw the friendlies like Southampton and Hibernian and all that. It looks like we've got a good attacking side. I think he's told the players, you see goals, shoot at it. We're used to walking in all the time. But no, I think it's exciting times, and we're looking forward to 2 friendlies. Then we've got the West Ham one in a couple of weeks' time.
Just finally then, what about the business? What more would you like to see come in? They're talking about a midfielder being a priority, I think, with Jefferson Lerma leaving.
Yeah, we've always said that. We actually said you want a good defender, good midfielder and a good striker. So I think we've got a good defender, but I think we still need a more experienced striker.
There you go, there's the view of a couple of Bournemouth fans outside the ground ahead of today's game. Interestingly, a new fan as well, which we know owner Bill Foley and head of business, their new head of business as well, Jim Frivola, is very keen to get new supporters in through the turnstile. So there's one at least that we spoke to ahead of today's game. Adam Blackmore also went for a walk around St Mary's as well and caught up with a couple of Southampton fans ahead of their friendly against AZ Alkmaar. Here's what they've had to say.
I'm in the stands here with
Toby, Stuart,
father and son. So what did you think of Tuesday against Bournemouth then? Have you gone to school and had loads of friends give you welly after Tuesday?
Yeah, I had that. My friend's a close Bournemouth fan, so it was a big rivalry going in before, but I think we played all right. A couple chances missed, but it's filling me with confidence at the moment.
Yeah, it's difficult until the first proper match. It's going to be difficult to see.
For me, the uncertainty of players coming and going is going to be a pain for the next month. Toby, do you accept that the likes of Ward-Prowse and Lavia are going to go, or as a young fan, are you like fighting it?
I mean, it's unfortunate because they've been, obviously Lavia's new, but so many teams want him. I suppose you sort of have to accept that when you go into the Championship.
If you lost, say, Lavia, Ward-Prowse, Livramento, Salisu, would you be okay with that? Just accept that when you're out the Premier League you've got no choice, or do you want the club to fight?
It's a big loss for the team anyway, but I think you just sort of have to accept it when it gets to this situation, and we'll come back stronger.
Good thinking, Toby. Now, Stuart, Russell Martin. So, what do you make of him so far?
Yeah, it's until we first get the first proper match at Anger, new ground for him, isn't it? So we will see.
Okay. And a week to go. What's going to happen at Sheffield Wednesday?
I'm going to say a win, 2-1.
Oh, I like that. Stuart?
Yeah, definitely win, probably just 1-0.
Cameron.
Glenn.
Derek.
Ryan.
Derek, what was the first year you came to see a game here?
Oh, back in the 60s, yeah.
Okay, and what do you think of the current
That was
lot?
at the Dell. Hopefully they'll improve.
Have you recovered, Brian, from the relegation?
Yeah, I think so. I knew when we went up a couple of years back it was going to be a struggle once we got into the Premiership. So yeah, we've struggled for a few seasons and we knew it was going to be a struggle. And unfortunately, we're one of these teams that we can get good players but we can't hang on to them.
So you were on the pitch. When did your dad to talking about the pitch, he's on about the Coventry game here when you got promotion back to the Premier. Right,
it was amazing.
So the younger generation, you two, let's be honest, you're not as patient as us oldies. We get used to ups and downs over decades of following a football club. So have you been ranting and raving and giving it large on social media and getting angry or what? How have you felt about the last year?
I think we just accepted relegation.
Yeah.
I think by the end of the season, we knew it was coming.
Yeah? Were you angry, or were you just like, well, we've been average for ages, or what?
I mean, I felt it was coming sort of when we were selling like players like Van Dijk and stuff like that. You could see it was going downhill. What I can see from this season is the positives, that we're bringing in good young players with good bags of potential, which could potentially spring us straight back into the Prem, which I'm looking forward to.
And do you accept that some of your best players are going to go because they want to play in the Premier League? Have you got used to that now?
I can understand, some players do want to go to the Premier League, but I like the club's hard stance on it, because sort of like with, for instance, Ward-Prowse, they're not accepting any lower bids. But I mean, all I've been hearing is West Ham trying to buy him constantly and keep coming up with ridiculous offers.
I've enjoyed Russell Martin's company so far. What do you make of him as a fan?
Yeah, he seems pretty good. Obviously, he was at Swansea last year, so hopefully we can roll on and go back up again.
What about this keeping the ball at all costs under Russell Martin and getting caught in possession? Can you forgive it if it works most of the time, or are you going to be screaming for them to hoik it?
Yeah, we were discussing that earlier. If they can actually get a result from it, yes, but otherwise, if they went like they were last year, where they was giving it away and then a goal getting scored against them, then that doesn't help.
You've seen a few managers, Derek. What do you make of Russell Martin?
It seems quite positive at the moment. Yeah, so it's all quite good.
We should all be positive in the summer till we kick the ball.
He seems to talk the talk, so let's see if he can walk it.
I'm looking forward to seeing how they play there. It's the first time I've seen them play under the new manager, so that'll give me some ideas.
Scoreline next Friday. We're a week away, boys, from the new season. Scoreline, Brian.
It's going to be a hard game, but I'm hoping we can get at least a goal lead.
Derek, last season it was League One against Premier League in the League Cup. Saints struggled then. What's going to happen?
2-1 to Southampton.
Oh, that's not the first one that said that. I like that. Let's go.
I'm going to reckon 2-0.
2-0 and?
I personally think 3-0. We're going to want to go out and get this win.
Optimistic and good to hear. BBC Radio Solent Sport. That was Adam speaking to some Saints fans earlier on today inside St Mary's ahead of their friendly against AZ Alkmaar. You're listening to the Sports Show with Jordan Clark. Second of our pre-season specials. We're live from the Vitality Stadium, and we're at St Mary's and Fratton Park, as well as Atalanta here at Vitality nearly go 3-1 up through Ademola Lookman as the second half just gets underway. No changes by the looks of it for either side or either manager at half-time here. So Bournemouth trading by 2-1. It was Marcos Senesi with the goal for the Cherries in the first half. They went 2-0 down. Senesi getting them back in the game after Meili and Koopmeiners had put them 2-0 up, the Italian side. Bournemouth's options on the bench: Andre Radu, Chris Mepham, Dongo Watara, Joe Rothwell, Kiefer Moore, Hamid Traore, James Hill, Gavin Kilkenny and Ben Greenwood, should they be needed. The Bournemouth team, let me remind you, it is out there at the moment, with the Cherry shooting from right to left in this second half towards the Steve Fletcher North stand. We're commentating from the main stand. And in fact there has been a change. There's been a change in goal, and they didn't put the board up, I don't think. So Neto is off. New signing Andre Radu arriving from Inter Milan in the week to provide competition to Neto after Mark Travers, headed out on loan to Stoke, is coming on for his first Bournemouth appearance. Not an official debut, with it being a pre-season friendly, but he is between the sticks. You've got Adam Smith at right back, now wearing the captain's armband. Ilya Zabani, Marcos Senesi, two centre-backs, and Milos Kerkez, another of the new signings at left back. Lewis Cook is your holding midfielder in front of the back four. Then you've got Ryan Christie slightly further forward in midfield. Jayden Anthony down the right. Justin Kluivert, another new signing, down the left wing. David Brooks sort of in a roaming number 10 role in behind Dominic Solanke, and that's your Cherries side. Atalanta have Juan Musu in goal. Toloi, Meili, who scored the first goal. Koopmeiners, who scored the second. Pasalic, Lookman, Deroon, Jamisti, Ruggeri, Scalvini and Zappa Costa in their 11. Here's David Brooks on the edge of the 18-yard area, sends it out to Adam Smith down the right. As we said, in the captain's armband. Now, interesting, Andoni Iraola saying in the press conference yesterday that he hasn't made a decision on who his captain will be yet, and that will be something that will be communicated to the players probably after the FC Lorient game ahead of the West Ham Matt. So it's not necessarily still Neto's armband, which I thought was interesting to hear. So we'll see who he decides to hand the armband to. Of course, it was taken off of Lloyd Kelly last season by Gary O'Neill and handed to Neto. Andoni Iraola just down in front of us, away to our left on the edge of his technical area. Like Gary O'Neill, unlike Scott Parker, there's not going to be any fashion watch this season, I don't think, because he is in the Bournemouth club tracksuit down on the touchline. Very animated, barking plenty of instructions during the first half. And he's out there again on the edge of the technical area again, hands in pockets, white trainers on, just dictating a few things to his players. Bournemouth are over on the right hand side, one back by Atalanta and then one back again by the Cherries and Ryan Christie. Free kick given away. Referee in charge, we forgot to mention that earlier, was Craig Pawson today. Ryan Christie not happy with Craig Pawson, felt that was a fair tackle. Let's bring John Williams back in.
I'm not too happy with the referee. He seems to
Don't start already. We've not even got to the first game of the season.
Dominic up front, he's been beaten up. What's happened there? Oh, he's jumped the fence.
A hurdle from David Brooks over the advertising board. He's absolutely fine. Yeah, just couldn't keep the ball in and his momentum carried him out and over. So it was 0-0 half time at Fratton Park. We'll drop back in there. Cliff Pledge and Alan Knight are watching that game involving Portsmouth and Bristol City, and the same scoreline at St Mary's as well, where Southampton are in action against AZ Alkmaar. Why don't we head back to St Mary's now and drop in on the start of the second half. Adam Blackmore can bring us up to speed.
Big news, Jordan, for you is that we have 2 DeWitts on the pitch, so that's DeWitt to 2, I decided. So we've got 2 DeWitts.
That's a Roald Dahl book, isn't it?
It is, exactly. They're owls, the DeWitts. And with 48 minutes gone, I can tell you that the left back has stayed on, of course, with Mies DeWitt, who was booked, and Danny DeWitt has come on, who's more of an attacking midfielder. He's come on for Jordi Mihailovic. Also for Alkmaar, Michael Lardo has come on for Ernest Poku, whose pace we won't be seeing in the second half. And Myron van Brederode has come on for Carlson. I thought Jesper Carlson was the best player as the cross comes in from the substitute who's come on, DeWitt, the Danny version, and it's caught by Bazunu. Southampton have made one change. Kyle Walker-Peters on for Tino Livramento, like for like, and we've had just one shot really from Shea Charles, who has scored a header in the friendly already, of course, for Saints, but he had a shot on the turn from a ball into the penalty area from a corner, which is blocked by a defender in front of him. That's as close as we come. Southampton have been neat and tidy. Interestingly, talking to people at half time, stewards and people around the press box and fans, general view, most people, is that it's been neat and tidy. Both sides have liked keeping the ball, so it's been very, I think Saints have had more control than they had against Bournemouth for sure, and Alkmaar, as we said before, are no bad side. They've been very successful in recent years, top 4 Dutch side last season, Europa Conference League semi-finalists, lost narrowly to West Ham, and there's been a goal at Fratton Park. Let's head there now, shall we, and find out what's gone on.
Again, I'm not sure if it was Connor or not, but the header isn't good enough to clear the area. Drops to the lad, and the first time shot gives well no chance in goal, but disappointing after a fairly bright opening when we could have really been 1 or 2 up ourselves.
Welcoming back the listeners on BBC Radio Solent. Bristol City have just opened the scoring. A good low shot from Mark Sykes. One of 7 substitutes have only come on at half time for City. A good set piece came in. The header away from Ogilvie, I think it was Ogilvie, only went as far as the number 17 who lashed home the goal. To give, ironically, the first 4 minutes of the second half, Pompey had made a very bright start and actually could and should have taken the lead, and a shooting opportunity came the way of new forward Anthony Scully, but his effort was saved by Max O'Leary. Scully now tries to get on the end of a long bouncing ball forward. Ogilvie's up from the back. Mighty win the ball. I think he's won a throw right up by the corner flag as Pompey keep on the front foot. Morrell, former Bristol City player, down the left hand side, tries to get the better of the player who's just scored for City. In the end, the refs said that he's fouled it. I'm not too sure about that one, but it's a free kick to Bristol City back in their own half. And that is Sykes' 3rd goal of pre-season for Bristol City, who are unbeaten. Pompey, who lost for the first time in their friendly fixtures on Tuesday night at AFC Wimbledon. Well, if they don't score today, they'll have another defeat for their final friendly. But I say the irony was actually they did okay in the first half and just started the second half better, but are now one behind. Long ball forward. Pompey trying to get it away, get it forward. Within the centre circle, it's picked up by Bristol City's number 16, one of 4 players who wasn't replaced at half-time. Rob Dickey gets it forward, and then the ball's a little bit too long on an attack, and it's gone wind assisted, perhaps out of play for a goal kick to Portsmouth. Pompey, it's good to see them not disheartened by that goal and going back on the attack, Alan, because they've made a bright start to the second half despite that goal.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, got to keep focused on what their objectives are.
Excellent ball. Colby Bishop gets a chance to shoot. He's actually floated across to the back post to find Morrell. Was that the right option? Will Morrell keep it in play? Has he won a corner? Yeah. Good link-up play from Scully there and Bishop.
It's just the final ball at the moment, and those decisions at the moment have just possibly let us down a little bit so far. Everything building up to the final third, and then things, unfortunately, just petering out a little bit.
Cliff Pledge at Fratton Park. Bristol City 1 up there, 2-1 to Atalanta at the Cherries. I'm Adam Blackmore at St Mary's as the weather closes in a bit and the wind picks up and it cools down here. Clearance away to my left from Matthew Ryan in the Alkmaar goal, up to into the centre circle, and they've won a free kick. So it's 0-0 here still. And as I was saying before that goal at Fratton Park, Southampton have had more control than they had against Bournemouth, but AZ Alkmaar also very neat and tidy in possession, with the vastly experienced Jordi Classy, the former Saint, often being that quarterback, dropping in between the two centre-backs in that system and dictating the direction of play for the Dutch side. So they're attacking now. Good run as well from the left-back to Witt. Looks up, he's got Jordi Classy behind him, who actually screws his shot horribly, stretching off his right boot, and it goes out for a throw. But just for a moment, a little burst of acceleration from Mies to Witt, and if Jordi Classy had controlled that and had enough control to take a touch, there was no one within 2 or 3 yards of him. So he's an intelligent footballer, Jordi Classy. Struggled with the pace of the Premier League at times. Neat and tidy and intelligent, and of course gets much more time on the ball to dictate matters for Alkmaar than he did in the Premier League, that's for sure. Good player, nice guy, as Shea Charles hangs the ball forward. Alcaraz is the furthest man up for Southampton. He sends Bazoa bundling over as they challenge in the air for that ball forward from Shea Charles, but it was easy for Alkmaar to gobble up. Too difficult for Alcaraz, and that's a lovely play from Jordi Cruyff again. Jordi Classy just dropped a shoulder and took a couple of Saints midfielders out, and Alkmaar have just grown into the game, I think, as it's gone on really. Saints, like against Reading, started very fast. Alkmaar have grown into it. Neither keepers had that much to do. Matthew Ryan's made the best save, smothering Nathan Teller's run through on goal. And Southampton still trying to be patient with the ball, trying to play out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes fans in front of me are moaning, saying kick it, get it forward, but they're not going to do that. They're going to stick to what they want to do, as Jason Wilcox was saying to Alfie House this week in the Southern Daily Echo. People need to be a little bit patient, but we're going to make sure we grow from a base that enables us to be a top 10 Premier League side again by playing the right type of football. That's what the intention is, that's what they're trying to build. It's at the very early fledgling stages, of course, and we'll stick with it. Of course, none of us will stick with it if they lose 10 in a row in the Championship, but we're all hoping that's not going to happen as Southampton try and build an attack down the right here against Alkmaar. Walker Peters and Ward Prowse, 2 players who may or may not be here come September, combining down the right, still making no progress. Teller's there as well. Little neat triangle, and then Walker Peters' pass is poor and it goes out of play, and Russell Martin turns away in disappointment as if he can't look at it, like a horror film, and it's an Alkmaar throw. Come out after tea, let me tell you, at the Oval. Johnny Bairstow's been going on the attack for England since coming on to join Joe Root. England now looking like a really good lead. 275 for 4, 263 ahead. Bairstow's quickly on to 38. Roots happy to take Root, 66 not out. Pull back with Bazunu, takes a couple of touches, took a couple too many maybe. Almost got his clearance charged down by Danny DeVitt. And then the long Saints forced to clear it long, and there's what Jason Wilcox is talking about. Ideally, he said we don't want to be punting the ball at the pitch and giving it back to the opposition. Well, that's what just happened. Ball out to this near side to the substitute Lardo, who came on for Poku, but he's tackled by young Sam Edozie. Edozie stretches his legs, he's midway inside the half, and he just shows too much of the ball there to Bazoa. Just lost control. He was almost, sometimes when he's running with the ball, Sam Edozie, he looks like his strides are too long, like he's almost always stretching to keep the ball under control. And Alkmaar try and play their way out from the back, and Yukinari Sugawara did well, the right back. A lovely play, turned away from a couple, and then he's pinged a lovely ball out to that far side, straight to the feet of the substitute Van Brederode. And ball now in the middle of the park with Sven Meenans, and the midfielder looking to thread it through towards Van Brederode again, and he's gone out for an Alkmaar throw. So 57 minutes gone here. Corner to AZ Alkmaar. Let's see what Saints are like at defending a set piece. I'm not sure Alkmaar have had a corner yet in the game. They're feigning to take a short one possibly, because the left back Mies de Wit has gone short with Van Brederode, but I think de Wit might take it. There's only one Saints defender there, so they do take it. They've got 2-on-1 from the short corner. Why not? Eventually Ward-Prowse pops out, but not before the cross comes in. But thankfully for Saints, Bazunu gathered it, and then he quickly rolls it out, and now there might be a counter-attack, because Alcaraz took it up in a great position. That could be a nice ball, and in the end Matthew Ryan read it early, got ahead of his penalty area, and he's whacked it clear as Adam Armstrong was bearing down on the ball from Alcaraz's through ball. There were 4 players coming forward. He had 3 options, Alcaraz, which is good. He had Edozie left, Armstrong through the middle, and Teller to his right. He opted for the hardest pass, and it didn't quite pay off. But Southampton are trying to come again, just trying to up the tempo for a few minutes here. Ward-Prowse, as the sun comes back out at St Mary's. Remember, next Friday we're on air from 6 o'clock. From 7 o'clock we'll be really getting into the thick of Saints stuff when the team news comes out ahead of Sheffield Wednesday. Joe Tessam and myself will be with you for the season. We'll be up there, of course, at Hillsborough. Jordan Clark will take you through 6 till 7 with the sports hours. We preview the whole weekend sport, of course, live on BBC Radio Solent. And next Saturday afternoon, of course, Pompey kick-off, Saints next Friday. And that long ball from Bazunu might get Edozie in behind the defence here with a bit of an Ederson-style pass, 80 yards up the pitch, but in the end, Bazoa heads it back to Matthew Ryan, and he rolls it out. So approaching the hour mark here at St Mary's, not particularly entertaining the start of the second half. We've got an injury here, so let's head you back to the Vitality Stadium and John Williams and Jordan Clark.
Yeah, Adam, that was a bit of a throwback to the 90s then, with Geordie Cruyff playing for AZ Alkmaar.
He's tell you what, he keeps himself fit, that lad. He's done well, Jordan.
Here, look, before I let you go for a very short break, I'm getting a few people moaning on social media, mainly Saints fans, I'm going to be honest, about the fact we're jumping around the teams.
But it's only a few.
We can reassure them that we will bring you uninterrupted Southampton commentary of every game this season. It's just a pre-season friendly, isn't it?
Well, it's not only is it just a pre-season friendly, but this is half as flat as the one we did commentate on Tuesday night when Southampton played Bournemouth.
Hard work doing a full 90 minutes.
Yeah, it is on this one. This is slow today compared to that. That was a good feisty friendly. This seems much more tippy-tappy. Look, everybody, the fact is, you will get every match of every team, whoever you support throughout the season. I have absolutely no apology for going round the grounds this afternoon as we try and look at all 3 teams' preparations for the new campaign. It's part of what we do. We don't need to split frequencies for a game that's dying a death like this one, that is for sure, this afternoon. So yes, some fans, Saints fans, might not be happy. They did an option to pay if they wanted to get their wallets out and listen to Ian Wilding do it on the club's website on the television, if they fancied that. If they don't do that, then they can put up with about half a game's worth of me over the course of 90 minutes.
And you're going to need to help me with this one as well from Colin in Mansfield, because it's beyond me as Bournemouth come close to a shot on goal, but it's cleared by Atalanta and out for a corner. Colin says, here's a question for you. Can you remember who the 2 commentators were years and years ago, which rules me out straight away? One was for the home team and one was for the away team.
Well,
Do you
which
remember
games
us
are you
doing
talking
that?
about?
I think it's just not a specific game.
Maybe that was trialled.
The style of commentary, was it? Where I guess you had
maybe
one
that was
person
trialled before
focusing
mine
on the
and
home
yours
team.
time. Well, maybe that was what they used to do with Saints Pompey games, Jordan, or something, before me and you were around. I don't know. But Colin in Mansfield, your memory is better than ours. I don't remember us ever doing that. I do remember once, funnily enough, in a week that we're going to Hillsborough, I do remember going to Hillsborough once with Chris Temple, and we did a Saints game at Hillsborough and did 22.5 minutes each and summarised for each other because we didn't have a summariser. So we did it as a joint commentary with two commentators, not a commentator and a summariser, because Dave wasn't around and nor was Willow, or something like that.
I don't believe
remember.
Willow wasn't around.
Willow's
He's
always
never
around.
not around.
It must have been Dave. Well, we couldn't get a summariser, or someone let us down at the last minute, so me and Chris did 50-50.
I can't think who's going to be able to answer that question for Colin either. Maybe Tristan Pascoe will have to go to someone like that for.
Well,
for
Tristan was presenting Solent Sport when I first arrived in 2004,
right,
Jordan.
so maybe.
It might have been, but it would have been probably in the late 90s, early noughties. So Colin, I'm worried that Colin's forgotten some important things in life, but kept that in his head for 20 years, Jordan. That's what I'm worried about.
Adam, go and grab yourself a cup of tea or something. Couple of changes here at the Vitality Stadium. David Brooks, Justin Clivett are off. On comes Hamid Traore and on comes Dongo Ouattara as well. You've not really missed anything while we were just speaking to Adam there, have they, John Williams?
No, unfortunately it's gone into pre-season mode where the second halves are absolutely notoriously. Oh, nearly a chance for Dominic there. That was close. Yeah, notoriously for. People are looking for fitness and for some reason it doesn't. Pre-season games that was about the best one against Southampton I've been to for a while, to be honest.
It's Kolasinac on the ball for Atalanta as well, the former Arsenal man who's just come onto the pitch just before Adam handed back to us. The sun's still shining down on the Vitality Stadium, the clouds are in the distance now. The East Stand opposite us bathed in sunshine. Bournemouth in their black and red tops, black shorts and black shots are shooting from our right to left in this second half towards the Steve Fletcher North Stand, as they like to do in the second 45 minutes. Their new goalkeeper's on as well, if you missed that from earlier on. Andre Radu, signed from Inter Milan in the week, hasn't had very much to do at all so far, has he, Willow?
No, unfortunately there's a chance for him to get the feel of it,
an easy
the ball.
claim.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be many. In fact, I'm looking down there. There's two with their shirts off. I think there's going to be some more subs. That breaks the game up as well, doesn't it? Doesn't help.
In terms of your messages as well, we mentioned a few there. Thank you as well to Paul Shire, listening in from Yeovil. Thank you for pointing out about Stuart Armstrong and picking up a knock against the Cherries on Tuesday. That's why he's not involved for Saints today, from the sounds of it. And hello to Ross as well, listening in from Plymouth, who just mentioning, of course, Jeff Mostyn, who departed Bournemouth in the week. The former chairman was in an ambassador role following the arrival of Bill Foley, of course, who took over as chairman when he bought the club, as Ilya Zabani goes down under a late tackle from Ademola Lookman and wins a free kick on the halfway line. Ross, you're pointing out that sort of Jeff Mostyn's been kind of edged out. I don't think that is the case. I think Jeff has gone because he wanted to go at this point. He wants to go and pursue other projects, he said, I think it was, and the time felt right for him now. We're going to try and get hold of Jeff and have an interview with him as well and reflect on his many years at the club. Of course, a key person, an important person in the rise through the Premier League, chairman at that time, and of course even going back before that when he was sort of led the takeover to help save the club as well. Willow, I mean,
he did a great job, Jeff. Absolutely fantastic. What didn't come over maybe too well with his programme notes, he's got a fantastic sense of humour. He makes me laugh, honestly. That some of the tales he'll tell you, but yeah, he's done a great job, so good luck to him.
I think a lot of Bournemouth fans' overriding memory of Jeff Mostyn's sort of time at the club will be that night they were promoted to the Premier League here at the Vitality Stadium, and he went in to celebrate in the changing rooms with the players, and he was mobbed by the players after he had come in and sworn on live TV, I think, about how much he loved the Bournemouth players as well. Very funny moment. I'm sure it's still doing the rounds on social media if you haven't seen it. And yeah, we will try and catch up with Jeff Mostyn, probably ahead of the start of the new season if we can. Ball comes into the box. Solanke with a challenge on the goalkeeper, who doesn't claim it. Comes back out to Hamid Traore. Cries of shoot. He obliges. Left-footed. It's blocked. And Atalanta will scramble it away. And Solanke's still down inside the 18-yard area. So Craig Pawson, who's refereeing today, just calls a halt to proceedings to allow the medical staff to come on and see to Dominic.
I think he got
Solanke.
a fist in the face from the keeper. He was really brave, Dominic, there. It was one he could have turned his back on. But he's gone through with it. Gets up now, he's okay.
I've seen a few tweets about the midfield, Willow, and the lack of a midfield for Bournemouth perhaps at the moment. We know that's a priority. Andoni Iraola has said it's a priority to get a midfielder in. How do you replace Jefferson Lerma?
Well, difficulty, innit? You know, everybody's looking for top players, but you just hope Richard Hughes, they can find someone that fits the bill. There is somebody out there.
You do feel like they've just lost that bite in aggression. Obviously, with Lerma going, you don't get that from Lewis Cook. He's a great player, but a different kind of player, isn't he? Adam Smith wins it back well down the right hand side and sends it down the line, looking for the run of Jayden Anthony with that bleached blonde hair that he's come back with from over the summer. He can't get on the end of it. Musso, the goalkeeper, clears almost over the top of the Eve stand, bounces off of the advertising boards above the top of the stand and back down. The Cherries are back in possession. They trail by 2-1 against Atalanta. You're listening to Jordan Clark, Solent Sport. John Williams alongside me from the Vitality Stadium, Bournemouth's penultimate pre-season friendly. Here's Kirkes flying down the left-hand side, back to Ouattara. Sprints in off the touchline to the byline now, low cross to the face of goal. Traore tucks it off with his right foot, trying to find room for the shot in his left foot. Atalanta get it away, and it will be a throw into the Cherries deep inside the Italian team's half. Kirkes goes quickly and back out to Lewis Cook, shifts it out of his feet down this near left hand side, looking for the cross into the box. They'll come back out to the touchline, and Ouattara and Traore linking up really nicely again. Back out to Kirkes, low cross in, cut off by Traore just on the edge of the 6-yard area. Lewis Cook is involved as well now, edge of the box, left corner. Lovely 1-2 with Ouattara. It's cut off by Atalanta, and they'll clear their lines, and they're going to make a few changes now, the Italian team as well. Let's head back to St Mary's, where there's been a goal, and as I do that, let me tell you, we've got an answer to the quiz question. Chris in Milford-on-Sea, the two commentators, Adam Blackmore, were Grant Coleman and Roger Johnson in the Football League trophy matches. One spoke when Saints had the ball, and the other when the opposition had the ball. I like the sound of that. I feel like we should bring that back. And of course, you'd have heard both Grant and Roger on the air when Dave Merrington retired. That was the last time we got them on, didn't they?
Yeah.
To send a message to Dave not too long ago.
I can't think of anything worse than two people doing it like that. That
sounds challenging for me.
It sounds weird. That's all I thought. I guess that probably was a brainstorm for half an hour in office to come out with that, but we'll see. Both excellent men, both great broadcasters, and I'm sure at the time it was revolutionary. Jordan, it was probably more interesting getting that answer from Chris than the AZ Alkmaar goal, which has rather dampened the enthusiasm around St Mary's, because Southampton are losing in the 17th minute here. The goal came 3 minutes ago, as Armstrong feeds small bone, just stopped on the edge of the penalty area as he tried to run through on goal here. But the goal scored by the substitute Mikel Lardo, ball in from the left, close range shot, half stopped by Bazunu, but it span over the line, not the goalkeeper's fault. Decent finish. So Alkmaar, who I said have just been getting better and better, have taken the lead, and Saints are actually having a bit of trouble, Jordan, unlocking them in this sort of defensive 4-4-1-1 they're sat in, quite neat and tidy, the Dutch. I mean, it's a bit like it's why they did well in Europe, I guess, because they're well organised away from home, and they've dealt with everything Saints have had to throw at them. To be honest, in the second half, Matthew Ryan hasn't really had to make any saves in the Alkmaar goal, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of response Saints can come up with. But they've got 4 substitutes on the sidelines here, Southampton, and well, they'll look for them to make an impact, but the players on the pitch will try and do something before they get there, and Alcaraz will have another shot, and this time Ryan does have to save. Stings his palms with the shot, Alcaraz, but the Australian controlled it well enough out of his hands. He just had to skip to his left a couple of yards to catch the ball, but Alcaraz has looked the biggest threat for Saints, there's no doubt about it. And Saints about to make these changes. Romeo Lavia, he's one of those players that's about to come on. Sam Amayor's about to come on with just under 20 minutes to go, and we'll see who's coming off when the ball goes out of play. So we'll line those subs up to let everybody know. Meanwhile, Alkmaar are attacking again, and once more it was Van Brederode who got away down the left, but this time a lovely switch of play from James Ward-Prowse, and beautiful control from Adam Armstrong means he can drive into the penalty area and take the defender on. He's pushed him a little bit wide. It's good defending from Alkmaar. Here's Adozi though, gets to pull it back to Alcaraz, can't get the ball out of his feet, and eventually it's thrashed away, and Ward-Prowse can't believe that Alcaraz didn't just pass it back to him to let him slot it home, as the substitutes now prepare to come on for Southampton. Before I can see Lianco, Sam Amayor, Shea Adams, Romeo Lavia, Ward-Prowse, he's done for the day. We keep saying, when's his last appearance at St Mary's? You wonder. Of course, Saints not at home till the Norwich game on August the 12th. Jack Stevens takes the captain's armband off him and gives him a tap on the shoulder, like a bit of a hug. I wonder if there's a slight hidden message in there I'm picking up that either is or isn't true. And the fans here at St Mary's stand to applaud James Ward-Prowse off the pitch. They understand the situation, and Adozi goes off as well, but James Ward-Prowse comes off and he gets a break. Alcaraz coming off as well. He's played a lot of minutes in the last 3 friendlies. He looks in good nick. Shea Adams is coming on. Lianco is coming on for Manning. So Ward-Prowse, Alcaraz, Adozi and Manning have all gone off. So that's it. 73 minutes gone here. And a couple of substitutes for Alkmaar as well, which won't be of too much interest to you, I'm sure of that. But they lead thanks to that goal from the substitute Mikel Lardo, whose goal separates the two sides as the big striker comes off from the front. So that's it, 74th minute. I wonder how things are going at Fratton Park. Pompey were losing 1-0. Perhaps I can just listen in, and we can all listen in to Cliff Pledge and Alan Knight for a few minutes.
Yeah, it's time to just settle it down a little bit. Bristol had a little 5-minute spell there. As you say, the keeper, fantastic little crossfield ball into the corner, picked the player out. For me, just to see Yangi has been an interesting one, even in these few minutes he's been on. He looks like he's big and strong.
Well, welcome back, listeners from BBC Radio Solent. We're on all the frequencies right now. It's Portsmouth 0, Bristol City 1. City looking to cross it in. The keeper punches it, not too far away though. Still dangerous for Bristol City. The player who scored the first goal looking to get another one. Sykes though plays it out the left wing. Cross takes a couple of deflections off of Pompey defenders, and it's still in the penalty area until eventually Swanson decides that's enough and just lashes it out of play. But Bristol City 1 goal up, putting Pompey under a lot of pressure there.
And Swanson managed to get the clearance.
Pompey defending again. A flick header is actually, Ogilvy's just going to let that go out of play for a goal kick, and a little respite for Pompey. But Pompey have still been on the front foot. It's quite an attack-minded fixture. Maybe Bristol City have slightly more quality, but it's been quite an attack-minded game. And now Sean Raggett is going to join their field of play. Pompey's number 20, and Towler too. Riley Towler from Bristol is going to come in. Who are the 2 players that are going to make way? Well, one is Regan Poole, and I thought he's had an excellent game at the back, and I think the crowd appreciate that as well. And Towler will come on like for like with him, and Raggett's going to replace Tom Lowry. Oh, and another one too. Christian Sadie. Sadie's going to replace Gavin White, who's had a good game, and a fourth substitute's come forward now. Jack Sparks is going to come on as well, and he replaces Connor Shaughnessy. So a quadruple substitution for Pompey there, Alan.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out where everyone's going now, so this will obviously change the whole dynamic of the game again, and as you say, we'll have to wait and see how it pans out now, but still in essence the same sort of formation, a 4-3-3 as such.
Yeah, every change has been like for like that Pompey have made, and the announcer just catching up on them as well. They surprised us, it looked like a double, and suddenly it became a quadruple, and this is the first chance for Sadie.
I've been saying that, I think Sadie might be just playing in that hole, like false 10, so maybe Pompey are looking to put them under a little bit more pressure and go for it a little bit more.
So we've now seen every outfield player except Stevenson and Devlin, but we haven't seen a change of goalkeeper yet, which was what we were expecting, but may not yet come to pass. Pompey go up long to try and find Kamara, but Hayden Roberts gets it away, but Pompey battle and win the ball back. Here's Marlon Pack. Oh, the referee has decided there was a foul in there, so Pompey don't get a chance to break down the right wing, and Mr. Gills decided there was a foul committed on I think it was Hayden Roberts over the far side there.
Yeah, Yankee turned himself about a little bit there. I think the crowd will like that, and I mean, the kids chased the ball down and looking very game.
Ogilvie needed to win that header, but it's only found a yellow shirt as Bristol City go forward, burst forward. Vyman finds Mehmeti out on the left hand side. Cross comes back in, nice pass, very unselfish, and over the top. Pompey nearly punished there. Joe Williams should have had a shot, but instead he just touched it back for his teammate, who might have been in a slightly better position, but Bristol City wasted that one, and Matty James put it over the top. That was a pretty glorious chance that they didn't take, and Pompey, by virtue of that miss, still in the game, Alan.
Yeah, definitely should have scored there. He'll be very disappointed he didn't. And when you've had so many chances, those opportunities for Bristol will probably in these early moments occur, but thankfully we got away with it there a little bit, so hopefully the group of players that have got on will get a chance to settle down a little bit, and hopefully we can build and stuff going forward.
Ogilvie's got to do well to win a header. It's all a bit loose and there's a bit of a tussle. Morale leaving a little bit in there. Mr. Gill's seen that.
I will head back to Fratton Park in a bit. You are now back with Jordan Clark and John Williams at Vitality Stadium, where Bournemouth is still 2-1 down at home to Atalanta. Just under 10 minutes to go here in this pre-season friendly. The Cherries have made a host of changes since you were last with us. Gavin Kilkenny's come on, James Hill, Chris Mepham, who's now wearing the captain's armband, Joe Rothwell's on, Hamed Traore and Dongo Ouattara have looked lively since they were introduced, and Kiefer Moore's gone up top as well. So the Bournemouth team now looks like this, shooting from right to left towards the Steve Fletcher North stand. Andre Radu, their new signing, in goal. James Hill's at right back. Zabani's alongside Mepham at centre back. Milos Kerkez, more minutes under his belt, still out there from the start at left back. Gavin Kilkenny in the holding midfield role now in front of the back four. Joe Rothwell has sort of replaced the Ryan Christie role, the midfielder in between the 10 and the holding midfielder. Hamed Traore is the attacking midfielder. Jaden Anthony still out down the right. Dongo Ouattara down the left now, and Kiefer Moore leads the line for the Cherries, as we said, with Hamed Traore just in behind him. Still no sign of Rasmus Højlund for Atalanta. He's tucked away at the back of the substitutes bench, and they're just calling 3 more substitutes back, and he's not one of them. So I think it's fair to say he's probably not going to get a look in this afternoon on the adviso probably of whoever's about to buy him. It looks like Manchester United. They don't want him getting injured, I would imagine, which is a shame because it would have been nice to see him in action, but it seems like we may well see a fair bit more of him next season. Willow, what have you made of the Cherries then last 10 minutes or so, particularly the impact of Ouattara and Traore have looked very lively?
Yeah, just down this left-hand side, a bit of spice brought into the game, because it was, I mean, it's always the same pre-season. When you second half, they make all them substitutions, they're trying to give everybody game time for their fitness levels, and this one's not been much different from any over the years, to be quite honest.
Zappacosta wins it back for Atalanta, the former Chelsea man, down the right hand side through the legs of Kerkez, but Kerkez stands strong and doesn't let Zappacosta go round the other side. Good defending from Kerkez. We've spoken a lot about him going forward, Willow, and how lively he looks, but good defending there.
Yeah, he's been limited today though, hasn't he? In the previous game he was up and down like a yo-yo, but today he's been a little bit quieter.
And that's the point, isn't it? Bournemouth finding a player which they'll hope they've got in Kerkez, in a left back that can defend and that can fly forward how Iraola wants him to do as well. They had Matthias Vigno on loan from Roma last season, and it looks like maybe there was still interest in him, but then that went cold and cooled when they signed Kerkez. He might be heading elsewhere from the sounds of it in reports this week.
He couldn't defend though, could he?
There you go.
That was the thing.
He was great going forward, wasn't he? Scored a few goals.
Actually, predominantly, you know, when you're a defender of any sort, this is my thing. Look at I used to love going forward, free kicks, corners, long throws, anything. But you've got to be a defender first.
It's a free kick over on the left-hand side, about 35 yards out for Atalanta. Into the box, it bounces, comes back out, fired goalwards, fired into the back of the net. Alessandro Malamo, I think it was, with the finish. In the distance.
Another set play. That's really annoying.
In fact, it was Emmanuel Latte Lath.
Yeah,
no caffeine puns, please, John Williams.
He more got the ball away, but it was only to the edge of the area where he's just hit it into the ground, and the keeper all ends up.
So Atalanta go 3-1 up. Yeah, a few question marks around the defending. John Williams this afternoon
from set plays, but you know, we heard it. You know, the manager's already said he understands that we had a problem from set plays. Well, it's still there. That defender from a free kick, okay, we got our head on it, but there's nobody on the edge of the box picking the ball up. It goes to a white shirt, he leathers it hard and low. It's just it's almost a tapping.
Back underway at the Vitality Stadium. 3 more changes for Atalanta. I would tell you exactly what they were, but the trouble we have here is fourth official Aaron Farmer has decided today that he doesn't fancy using the substitutes board, Willow. So there is definitely one here, because I could see it on the big screen, because obviously it's tucked away from our angle and where we're commentating from the press box in the main stand. It's tucked away down the tunnel. It's definitely there because I could see it in the background on the screen, but he doesn't want to use it. Pre-season friendly, you know, too much effort, I'm sure. So even when Bournemouth were making a load of subs a minute ago, none of the players on the pitch knew who was meant to be coming off. Lewis Cook was turning around like going, is it me?
The thing is, when you make 5 substitutes at once, it's going to be difficult to get the numbers in it?
Oh, that's his job, isn't it? What else is he doing this afternoon?
Well, I'm not sure, I don't know that side of the game.
Certainly help us out at least. Long ball forward from Atalanta, head of the way by Chris Mepham. It's not been the greatest of games. I mean, we talked up that Saints game on Tuesday night as being not a bad match, but it's been far from that today.
Yeah.
The Atalanta Ultras been creating a decent bit of new noise over on the far side. Ilya Zabani with the man of the match. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, that is an interesting one.
We're nearly done here. We've got 2.5 minutes left. We're on the air through until 6 o'clock on Solent Sport this afternoon. We will bring you reaction from all 3 of our games if we can, because I've got to be on the air. I can't leave the press box, but I'm hoping that Andoni Iraola might be kind enough to walk up the steps to the press box to do an interview, or at least one of the players. So we'll wait and see on that front, but we'll certainly have post-match reaction from Southampton and from Fratton Park as well. Let's just go and take in the closing moments at St Mary's as well. Saints against AZ Alkmaar. I think, if I remember rightly, we're 1-0 down the last time we spoke to you, Adam.
And they still are, Jordan, into the last 6 minutes as Nathan Teller comes off, having had 86 minutes in the final game. Though having had 86 minutes, I'd expect him to be starting on Friday night at Hillsborough. Yeah, we're in the last knockings of pre-season for Southampton. The dress rehearsal is almost over and the season is less than a week away. Live on BBC Radio Solent from Hillsborough, promoted Sheffield Wednesday. What an atmosphere that's going to be up there on Friday night, and an atmosphere that Saints will have to deal with as well, because Sheffield Wednesday, despite their ownership problems and everything else, their fans will be buzzing for that one. It's a big old ground and they'll have a big crowd there, and we're stopping here for an injury to an AZ Alkmaar player. Interestingly, Russell Martin, as James Bree was coming on as a substitute just now, not happy, moaning at the fourth official either for how long it took or for something, but it shouldn't really make a difference if James Bree's going to play about 4 minutes. Keith Stroud is having a word with Jack Stevens, who's waiting to take either a free kick or a free hit, if you see what I mean, a drop ball in his favour. 87 minutes here. The goal coming in the 65th minute, scored by substitute Mikel Lardo. Slightly annoying for Saints if they end up losing this final pre-season, of course, or both of them at St Mary's this week after losing to Bournemouth. But be interesting to see what Russell Martin thinks of this performance. To me, it's had more control in it, but it probably lacked a cutting edge, Saints, and I don't know how many years we've been saying that, but it's a while. And another injury and a stoppage here to an Alkmaar player, upsetting some of the home fans at St Mary's. Reaction to come, of course, with Jordan. I'll go down to pitchside and get some reaction as soon as we can. Nicest moment of the last 20 minutes was undoubtedly the warm applause around the ground for Jordi Clasie as the former Saints midfielder was substituted off for the final stages of this game. That was a nice moment. Saints have only troubled Matthew Ryan once, I think, in the second half, apart from the snapshot. The snapshot from Alcaraz was it, but since then only a Will Smallbone shot on the turn, right hand side of the box, left footed, looking to curl it into the far post, missed by 2 or 3 yards. That's as close as Southampton have come. So Alkmaar, very dogged, very organised, very well marshalled, and they've made it very difficult for Southampton, there's no doubt about it. And of course, one of Bournemouth's new young stars, Milos Kerkez, was playing for Alkmaar last season. He started 33 of their league games. Remember, he's only 19, and he's a very good player. So they've got some good young players here, and they've been a good side, very competitive side at the right end of the Eredivisie for the last couple of seasons under Janssen. So here's Kyle Walker-Peters playing on the left fullback now. That pass intercepted midway inside the Alkmaar half, but it's given back to Will Smallbone by Lavia. Now on the outside, here's James Bree. Tries to cross it first time. Appealed for a handball, not given. Tries to win the ball back, and still Alkmaar are happy to battle and defend their lead. Kenzo Goodman getting the ball away. Now they want to break. Lavia's trying to win it back. He can't do it, and then they look for the early ball forward. Clever defending by Lianco. Just let it trickle off the outside of his right boot. And back to Shea Charles. And here's Jack Stevens and Lianco, one of the substitutes. Again, all the blue shirts back for Alkmaar. It's an all blue kit, but a lighter blue in the top, on the arms and the top of the back. And Saints can go nowhere, trying to prise them open and failing, and it's very difficult. It's a good test for them. You want a final good test. You might want a few more goals to boost your confidence, but you want a good test, of course, in the last pre-season European top league club. And now free kick for Southampton as Lianco bundled off the ball. Then he has a little to do with Danny DeWitt, and if I was Danny DeWitt, quite frankly, I wouldn't be messing with Lianco. He tripped Lianco. Lianco quickly took the free kick to try and get on with it, and either DeWitt trod on him, on his hands on the ball a little bit, but he certainly annoyed the Brazilian, and I wouldn't be doing that. So it's 3 minutes of stoppage time we're going to have. Apparently, why are we having stoppage time in a friendly? I really don't know. Seagulls flying around St Mary's. It's that calm here this afternoon. So in the stand here by me, flying around the Itchin stand, and pigeons. well, maybe all seagulls. But the referee having words with DeVitt and Lianco. I know my money's on. We're going to get the game underway. So we're in stoppage time. Southampton, first competitive game under Russell Martin is 7 days away. Friday night. We're on air from 6 o'clock. All the build-up. We're all Saints from 7. We'll preview the game and we'll preview our weekend's live football from 6 to 7 with Jordan. Joe Tesson will be up in West Yorkshire with me. Here comes the ball. I should say South Yorkshire, shouldn't I? Offside against Saints. They're running out of opportunities here to get a goal in this game. Adam Armstrong has worked tirelessly, stayed on the whole game as well. Up front, Will Smallbones played the whole game. Jack Stevens has played the whole game. Che Adams hasn't really had a sniff since he's come on. And Sam Amiyor is almost playing at right back with James Bree ahead of him. Interesting variation from Russell Martin. Not sure how pleased or displeased he'll be later. Seemed to have got through the game with no injuries, Saints. I think that's always in the background of the minds of any manager in the final pre-season game. And a long clearance from Matthew Ryan sends it all the way deep into the Southampton half. At this stage, Alkmaar happy to defend from the halfway line. Saints still playing it around, trying to work their way out of trouble from inside their own penalty area. Bazunu's distribution was good then. Armstrong's had to come deep inside his own half, but showed good feet, and a nice pass from Walker Peters, and maybe too many blue shirts followed the ball, and now there might be a bit of space for Saints on the right. Lavia onto Smallbone, early ball in towards Che Adams, good retreating header clear for Alkmaar. That was terrific defending, and you have to give credit to Yukinari Sugawara, the right back. Very good running backwards, looking at the ball in the sky as it was coming down for Che Adams, and won the header. Now perhaps Southampton get one more chance. Perhaps Keith Stroud will give them that. Smallbone, midway inside the Alkmaar half, feeds it inside to Lavia. Can the young Belgian, who's got a lot going on in his head, as Russell Martin said to me on Tuesday night, with the Liverpool bid there hovering, Saints waiting for it to get to the right figure, and he'll be off for sure. But can he do something purposeful in the red and white of Southampton before he heads off? Walker Peters, midway inside the Alkmaar half, on this left wing with Sam Amiyor. Saints still passing it around, even though the clock's ticking against them. There's no hoofing it into the penalty area to try and create some danger. They're going to try and work it in there, and in the end they can't, and Keith Stroud says enough is enough. Muted applause around St Mary's, shall we say, and they haven't seen a home goal, and so that is it for Saints. Reaction to come. I wish I had a lot to tell you about the game, but the second half rather faded, and it was just won in the 65th minute by Mikel Lardo's goal for Alkmaar. So disappointment for Southampton in their final pre-season friendly, but it is only a friendly, and now the dress rehearsal is finished. Let's see what happened at Fratton Park. They were losing 1-0 at home as well, so let's see what's gone on, and we'll have a word with Cliff Pledge, shall we? See how much has gone on there, how well Pompey played in that game as well. Let's see how Cliff's got on there.
And back next time out, this is Alan Knight and Cliff Pledge saying farewell. I welcomed everyone on all frequencies. Was just saying farewell to the people listening on the BBC Club commentary, just at the exact second that we've come back over. Portsmouth can feel that they put in a good shift. It's been an entertaining game, but Bristol City may be having a slightly more incision, slightly more quality, but it's been a very good workout this afternoon. Alan, how exciting is it when a new season comes around, and do you get the impression that it's been a good pre-season? Because there's been a lot, 12 players in, 12 players out. It's never easy.
No, with the turnover of players that we've had, and as you said, there's 12 players coming in, they've all got to get to know each other. I thought Pompey actually played pretty well today. The pass has been a lot better than I've seen it for Pompey for a long time. I thought they were confident with the ball. First half, you're playing against a decent side in Bristol City, and they made it difficult for us to break them down. So we didn't create a great deal the first half. Obviously, second half they made 7 changes to start with, and we tried to capitalise on that. And we had a great opportunity in those first 5 minutes to be 1-0 up. But it goes, as it does in football, down the other end. Quality from their set piece, the corner, and they score from the corner. we had a few half chances after that, and then as the game progresses, there's a million changes, which changes the whole dynamic of the game, as you said. But I thought overall, Pompey, a lot more pluses than negatives. Yeah, we got to work on stuff in the final third. But as you say, it's early days, big turnover in players, but I'm staying pretty positive about it.
5 new players started, 7 new players came off the bench. Might be wrong to single them out, but I was particularly impressed with Will Norris in goal, apart from an early scare, and Regan Poole in the centre of defence. Just based on what I saw today, it looks kind of promising to me.
Yeah, defensively I thought we looked quite solid. When after the early exchanges, and it is a bit here and scaring, but once we settled down, got ourselves, we made it difficult for them to break us down, and when they did, it was with quality. And as I said in commentary, I don't see too many teams in Div 1 having the quality that Man City, Bristol City had, because they did put a few decisive balls through that caused real problems. So if there's teams in Div 1 that can do that, then we are in trouble, but I don't think there is.
The voice of Alan Knight has been my pundit today. I'm going to go off and get some post-match reaction now. Alan will stay here if Jordan wants to speak to him, but now we'll go back to the studio to Jordan Clark from Fratton Park, where it finished Portsmouth 0, Bristol City 1.
Cliff, thank you very much. So Pompey all wrapped up then ahead of the start of their League One campaign next Saturday at home to Bristol Rovers. We'll bring you that game live on BBC Radio Solent as well, and all the build up for 2 o'clock. And as Cliff just said, he's heading off to get some reaction now as well, so we'll have that on the air for you between now and 6 o'clock. Listening to Solent Sport with Jordan Clark. We're here at the Vitality Stadium. It finished Bournemouth 1, Atalanta 3. It was Marcos Senesi with the one and only Cherries goal in the first half. They were already 2-0 down. Atalanta adding a third in the second half. We've got reaction to come from St Mary's as well, and coming up next we'll get a word with John Williams, former Bournemouth defender and assistant manager, about what he's seen out on the pitch from Andoni Iraola's side this afternoon. It is rapidly approaching 5 o'clock.
Jordan Clark,
BBC Radio Solent Sport.
2 minutes to 5, Solent Sport live with Jordan Clark from the Vitality Stadium. Reaction to come from all 3 friendlies that we've been at this afternoon. They've all ended in defeat. Bournemouth beaten by Atalanta, Saints beaten by AZ Alkmaar, Pompey beaten by Bristol City. John Williams is alongside me. Willow, one more friendly to go. Seen a couple of Bournemouth now. What do you make of where that squad, that side, is out under their new manager Andoni Iraola, based on what you've seen against Atalanta today in particular?
Well, in particular today, Atalanta are no mugs. That was obvious right from the get-go. But it's about fitness. It's about getting things, your body ready and all that. And I'm sure that's going as planned. The results don't help because it can put a little bit of disappointment in. But the one thing that does concern me is set plays. We heard the manager admit to knowing that there'd been a problem last season with set plays, and now the same thing happens. I mean, right at the end of the game, another free kick goes in, and
what is it then? Because they're still struggling to get it right, as you said.
Well, they've got to put people in the right places.
You've watched all those games. Yeah. What is going wrong for Bournemouth in those situations?
Well, apart from the fact that when you're man-to-man, we're half man-to-man mark, and we half fill spaces. Now that's okay, but you've got to make sure that the matchups with the people. This one was the shot from the edge of the area. Kiefer Moore gets the ball away. He heads it backwards. And it's a clear shot at goal, and it goes through everybody. The keeper's got no chance.
Because they changed it, didn't they? You remember Gary O'Neill speaking about it towards the end of last season, and he said it wasn't something they'd recently changed. They'd changed it particularly when Neil Moss came back in to go more man-to-man, less zonal, still not completely man-to-man.
See, they'll tell you that if you add it all up, zonal concedes less goals. But I'm not one for zonal. I think if you've got man-to-man, it's you against the fella next to you, and you've got to do all you can to stop him. As you get older, it gets easier. I mean, I see some of the lads running around trying to chase people all over the ball, and the ball hasn't even been kicked. When the ball is halfway there, that's when you hook on. You get whoever you're marking, you get really tight. At the very least, you can't let him jump. You've got to jump into him if it's coming your way, and if you can get a head on it, all well and good. But it seems to be a problem for us, and it's something they're going to have to look at. And they've got enough video analysis nowadays to see where, who and when.
And you really are with man to man. You're looking at individuals then, aren't you? And
well, you are
not doing their jobs perhaps more than
you've got to
a
have,
collective.
You've got to have certain people in certain spots, and their post needs covering. Some say the far post, maybe you have a man sticking there, but after that, we used to do it all the time, and even Eddie carried it on, where you leave two people up, and it takes the numbers away from their defences. We've got in so many times doing that. But I don't want to be down on the whole thing, because they look like they're getting the stuff in their belts in terms of fitness. We've got no injuries apart from the ones that are coming back, Kelly, Tavernier. So from that point of view, it's all good, but there's still stuff to work on.
And you've got to bear in mind that pre-season friendlies, they're making changes regularly, each team, in terms of getting set pieces right.
Yeah,
let's judge them properly after we've had a couple of Premier League games.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting too down on it, but I'm just, in the second half, notorious pre-season friendlies, when you make 9 changes and the other team does as well, it just breaks the whole game up, and you may as well you do it for the fitness side of things and trying to get organised and iron out 1 or 2 problems. But most second halves are not very good in pre-season.
Take the result out of it then. That attacking front midfield 4, could that work this season? Anthony, Christie, Brooks and Cliver?
Don't know. What I've seen today, Dominic didn't get enough of the ball, didn't get enough chances. Brooks, he had a great chance early on in the game where he scuffed the shot, didn't it? Just rolled into the keeper. But yeah, I mean, there's work to be done up front. Kiefer come on and won some headers. I'd like to see him. Dominic was getting battered, to be honest, by the centre halves. So yeah, there's still an awful lot of work to do.
BBC Radio Solent, live from Vitality Stadium. We've been at Fratton Park. We have been at St Mary's as well for Southampton and Portsmouth's final pre-season friendlies ahead of the start of the new season. Let me just bring you up to speed with the cricket. I should say as well, John Williams, thank you very much for your time today. Willow will be back in a couple of weeks' time for that West Ham fixture. Bournemouth against West Ham, their Premier League opener. Of course, every game of every team, so Bournemouth, Southampton and Portsmouth, live on BBC Radio Solent in full this season. Willow will be back alongside Chris, Adam Blackmore and Joe Tessam, Andy Moon and Guy Whittingham. The voices that will bring you all the drama, all the thrills, all the spills, and probably some disappointment as well, let's be perfectly honest, from Friday night when Saints kick off away at Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship, following of course relegation from the Premier League last season. How many of those Premier League players which featured today, which will still be around come 5 days time to feature in that game, we'll have to wait and see. I think there's still there's going to be a bit of business this week. I think it could be a busy one potentially, but who knows. We've been keeping a close eye on the cricket for you as well. Let me bring you up to speed with what's happening. England well in control now of the 5th and final test. They look to level up the series at 2-2 in their second innings. They are now 321 for 4, so that is a lead now over 309 runs, and 2 players heading towards 3 figures as well. Joe Root not out on 80, Johnny Bairstow not out on 70 at the moment. There was 73 for Zach Crawley, 42 for Ben Duckett, 42 for Ben Stokes as well, batting at number 3. Still no sign of Moeen Ali, of course, has that groin injury at the moment. Looks like they might not need him with the way that they're going at the moment. We have got some reaction to come for you very shortly as well. We'll be heading to St Mary's in the not too distant future. Adam Blackmore has been speaking to Sam Adozie, and if you want to get in touch as well, if you've got a question for Adam, he will, I'm sure, get back up to the commentary point at some stage on the Saints front, then you can do. If you want to Let us know what you've seen today. Maybe you're just getting back in the car or just turning on BBC Sounds, putting your AirPods in. If you've been at St Mary's today, maybe you've been at Fratton Park, maybe you've been here at the Vitality Stadium. What did you make of what you saw from your side? We'd love to know. At Solent Sport is where you can get in touch on Twitter or X. It's up to you, whatever you want to call it. I think we're going to stick with Twitter this season. 08000 321 333 is the WhatsApp number. I mentioned it earlier, the quickest and easiest way for you to get in touch with us. No doubt about that. If you save the number into your phone as well, it'll be there for the rest of the season. Save it as BBC Radio Solent or Solent Sport if you want. Start your message with the word Solent. I always ask you to stick your name on there as well so that we can give you a bit of a shout out, but understand if you'd rather not, that's no problem at all. 81333 is the text number if that is an easier way for you to get in touch with us. And again, if you're texting 81333 also, you can save that number into your phones, but you must start your message with Solent. And I must also tell you that text messages are charged at your standard network rate. It's just gone 6 minutes past 5. In this final hour, what else are we going to do? We're also going to hear from Mark Pugh. He joined Adam Blackmore on his show earlier on this week to reflect on Jeff Mostyn's departure from the Cherries and also to look ahead to the new season as well, did Mark Pugh, a former Cherries winger. So we will try and bring you that interview. We're going to hear from Marianne Spacey-Care as well, the Southampton women's boss, ahead of the start of their season, which isn't too far away now, and reaction as well from here at the Vitality Stadium, from Fratton Park and from St Mary's as well, where we can go now after their defeat to AZ Alkmaar today. Adam has been speaking to Southampton's Sam Edozie.
Well, I thought they were a very well organised, tough side, and it was a bit like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. They're one of the top sides in their country. I think they're in the Europa Conference League, so yeah, definitely a good side to play, and yeah, hopefully just build on this. I know it was a tough game, but yeah, we can take a lot of positives from the game, so we're looking forward to next Friday.
Do you feel it was a good run out ahead of Friday night? Because you had quite a feisty, good tempo friendly on Tuesday against Bournemouth. This felt a bit different, but was it what you needed, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially with the Championship being quite full on, you know, you got 2 games a week quite often, so you know, to get that in pre-season is a big positive for us. So we've done it now, and now we feel ready for the start of the season.
How do you feel personally, Sam, after the summer, after getting over last season and everything? How are you?
No, I'm good. You know, it's pre-season at the moment, so it takes some time to get your sharpness back. I'm still not at peak sharpness, but it's going to come soon. But yeah, I like to stay positive and keep working. So yeah, I'm excited for the season to come.
Haven't had a chance to ask you, but have you reflected on that first season playing Premier League football and what you learnt about your own game in that period and what that's helped you with in the summer?
Yeah, no, definitely. I've been working a lot on my end product. You know, football at the end of the day is about goals and assists, and I didn't get any last season, so that's definitely something I know I will improve next season. So yeah.
And what has the new gaffer said to you? How's he been with you since he's arrived?
You know, it's been very encouraging. He believes in me, and I think that's the main thing for a player, to have a manager that believes in them. So yeah, he's just been working with me to get that end product and try and nail it into my game. So hopefully I can put it into work.
And just finally, I know Sheffield Wednesday were a League One side, but I also know, because I'm older than you, that it's a massive club with big crowds, and they used to be in the Premier League, and you might have 30,000 there. It'll feel like a Premier League match. How excited are you? It's a great way to start the season, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and the whole team's looking forward to it. You know, it's nights like those like you want to enjoy, and we're all looking forward to it under the lights. So yeah, it's going to be a good game.
There you go, Sam Edozie speaking to Adam Blackmore after Saints pre-season friendly at St Mary's with the Dutch side AZ Alkmaar today. Big season for him, you feel? Didn't see a great deal of him since he arrived from Manchester City, but comes with being highly rated, a lot of prospect. Looking forward maybe to seeing what he can offer down a level as well in the Championship for Southampton this season. Will be interesting to find out. Interested to get your thoughts on Sam Edozie as well, maybe what you've seen of him pre-season so far, and of course when he did feature last season. Saints fans at Solent Sport on Twitter, 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp, make Solent the first word, or you can text 81333. Hello to Pauline Foster, has been in touch, Bournemouth fan, was quite happy with the way that the Cherries played today, but the referee in the first half was shocking. Don was wrestled to the ground in the penalty area, yet again no penalty. Not happy with Craig Paulson is Pauline, a Premier League referee, she says. 3-1 didn't really reflect the way Bournemouth played. Pauline, Willow wasn't very happy with Craig Pawson either. He wasn't very happy with the way that Dominic Solanke was being treated out there on the pitch. So he's with you on that one. Pauline, thank you very much for getting in touch. Right, while we wait for some more reaction to come in from our games today, we mentioned a bit of news for you earlier on in terms of Jeff Mosting and his departure from AFC Bournemouth. That was announced a couple of days ago. The former chairman, of course, moved to the position of ambassador once Bill Foley bought the club and came in as chairman. 16-year association with the Cherries coming to an end, although the club saying Jeff would be welcome back at the club whenever he wanted. The 78-year-old businessman, you remember, took over the club back in 2007 when it was in a really sorry state. He's played a huge part in the changing and rising fortunes of Bournemouth, culminating in their promotion, of course, to the Premier League back in 2015. Earlier on this week, Adam Blackmore caught up with Mark Pugh, one of the club's longest-serving players this millennium, and one of the players, of course, who under Mostin and Eddie Howe was a key part of that Bournemouth success story. Adam asked Pewey for his memories of Jeff Mostin.
Jeff is a wonderful man, both inside and out. I got to know his family really well. They're just a beautiful family, and they cared so much about the football club. When it was on the brink, he was the one pulling everyone together, doing everything he could in his power to try and get the club where he believed, and he really did believe that they could play Premier League football all these years, and he was a massive part of that. And I have a lot to thank him for. It made me feel really welcome. We had a nice day out in London when I went to the tribunal with him when I signed for Bournemouth, and it was such a lovely day. He treated me to a nice Selfridges lunch, and we got on like a house on fire straight from the off.
Hey, that Selfridges lunch might have inspired you to be the foodie football chef you are now, mate. Hey, Mark, the thing is with Jeff, he's so engaging, isn't he? And he's somebody you warm to very quickly, and it's a skill. And I've no doubt it's something that served him well when negotiating, when dealing with people, because he's brought so many people on board into the club since he's been there. He's been the perfect ambassador, even when he was the chairman.
Yeah, he's an infectious character, and he's always happy. He doesn't put on a front. He doesn't put on an act. He is what he is. He's absolutely bonkers, but he's very good at what he does. He's kind, caring. He cares about the fans, the players. He kicks every ball every week. You see him, sometimes you go to watch a game and you're sat behind Jeff and you'd sooner watch Jeff than the game. He's that animated, and it's great to see. He's so passionate, and I don't even think he's passionate. He's obsessed with the football club, and he'll be at every game, I would imagine, wanting the club to succeed this season.
The thing is, Mark, we always associate him with those great moments after celebrations, and we see him in the dressing room and you lot pouring champagne on his head and everything else that went on. But actually, we shouldn't also, because of his open nature and his just niceness, we shouldn't underestimate how effective a business person he's been at the club. You cannot get things done at football clubs like he's done since 2007 without being a pretty shrewd operator as well, and probably occasionally having to be ruthless as well.
Yeah, he's very shrewd. I've never seen Jeff be ruthless, but he's a businessman, and he's done what's best for the club. He's got the club in such a wonderful position now to really kick on. And I think the time was right because he put his heart, his soul, his blood into the club. I think he's getting to that age now where he does deserve to just sit back and enjoy watching a bit of football and enjoy time with his family, because he spent a lot of long hours, especially on, transfer windows and a lot of work behind the scenes to, get the best out of the club. So, no, fair play to him. Love him to bits, and he deserves this break now.
There you go, Mark Pugh speaking to Adam Blackmore earlier in the week following the news that Jeff Mostin, former Bournemouth chairman, was leaving his role as an ambassador at the club after all those years being a part of the Cherries. And we will try and speak to Jeff Mostin as well in the near future as well to get his memories of his time here at the club, I am sure. You're listening to Jordan Clark, Solent Sport. I'm live from the Vitality Stadium, where Bournemouth have lost to Atalanta in their penultimate pre-season friendly this afternoon. their manager Andoni Iraola has just come out of the dressing room to start doing some interviews. I'm hoping he might be brought up to speak to us live on BBC Radio Solent, but I can't promise you that. It may be that we get a player or someone instead, but we will try and bring you some reaction from here at the Vitality Stadium. It was great to see as well. A couple of fans wandered down along the seating and down the steps at the end of the game, where the press box is here in the main stand at Vitality Stadium, with their Athletic Bilbao tops on, old Athletic Bilbao tops on, with Iraola on the back, as well as a Basque Country flag as well that they were holding here in support of Bournemouth's new manager. May well have been family members, I don't know, but yeah, a new sight in the stands here at Vitality, and we will, if we do get to speak to him, ask him of his thoughts of the stadium as well, and how he feels maybe he might be able to use this place to his advantage next season in the Premier League. While we wait for any reaction from here at the Vitality Stadium, we're going to bring you some from Fratton Park as well, where Portsmouth have lost to Bristol City in their final pre-season friendly before their League One campaign gets underway. And we are going to bring you some reaction from Bournemouth, from Southampton as well. In fact, we can do that now. I think Jaden Ante's going to come up at any point and speak to me here. But while we wait for him, let's go to St Mary's, where Russell Martin, the Saints boss, has been speaking to Adam Blackmore.
How were you after that? Final run-outs are always worrying for managers with injuries and stuff. How was it?
Yeah, I'm frustrated we lost. I think we've limited a really good team to 2 shots all game, and they've scored, and we haven't. We just didn't make enough of the moments we had, really. Like the last little bit was just lacking, which we had on Tuesday and we had at Reading. Posed loads of different problems, again, which was really good, playing against a really good opposition. But I thought we were really dominant. As I said, limited them to very little. But have to make more of the opportunities that we have. Because we were in front of their goal a lot and around their box a lot, and just didn't quite come to enough. So we'll work on that. It's up to us to work that out.
Is that just confidence? Is that players not gambling enough in that box to get themselves beyond?
Yeah, like we have moments where if someone wants to go all in, we'll probably score. So we need a bit more of an all in mentality. And sometimes just a bit too much disappointment in the lads at times. But after last season, that's really that will change. We'll change that for sure. That mentality.
You think that confidence takes the time to build?
So yeah, they're doing some amazing things with the football already. So I think in the last 3 games you can see that. I think the style's very clear. Some of the moments are really brilliant, but then they need to come to a bit more. But it's always that last bit to come, really. So if we don't break the game down, and if we don't build up properly, we don't get there. So we're now getting there a lot. And the lads will feel that, and I think they felt really dominant on the pitch today when we've got no given right to do that against a team that had a really successful season last season. So we pressed really well, regained the ball a lot. It needs to come to a little bit more, and that last little bit, which I have no doubt on Friday night, lads will commit that little extra bit, and in the final third. And but I'm pleased with so much of it, but I'm really frustrated to lose.
Just taking a step away from the game, you just mentioned Friday. Dress rehearsals are all finished now. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's been good. I think if we'd... I'm excited about the start of the season. There's just so much other nonsense going on there, and noise and all that stuff, which is never ideal for a manager or a coach, but you have to deal with it and get on with it. You don't have much control over it. But I'm excited for the start of the season. If you'd have told me they'd perform like that in the 4 weeks after the first day, 4 and a bit weeks, with that performance, and it looks how it does, I'd really take that. So they've learnt brilliantly. There's been lots of different problems posed in pre-season that have really helped us prepare. I don't think any of them will quite replicate what we're going to get at Hillsborough on next Friday, so we have to be ready for that and try and replicate that as much as we can in training this week. But if we can perform how we have done over the last 3 games and add that little extra edge in and around both boxes, lads will be more than all right.
You mentioned the noise, and I was wondering how you as a manager deal with it with regards to selecting players. Because friendlies are one thing, but actually we talked about this Tuesday, you want the team who are going to be with you all season from the start of the season, really. Yeah. But you've got players who might be going, who you might want to play because they're really good, but they're not might not be with you after September. How do you balance that?
Yeah, I think we have to pick the strongest team available to us on Friday, the strongest team that's ready and conditioned to play. And I think the team will look different next Friday as it did today, because there'll be stuff that goes on, I'm sure. There might not. Fingers crossed, but we have injured players coming back as well for next Friday, so that will help us for sure. But I think the team that starts the first game of the season, it will look very different by the end of the transfer window, and that is frustrating.
Just got to live with it.
Yeah, whilst they're here, we just give everything we possibly can and ask them to do the same. and the rest will take care of itself.
Final question. Stuart Armstrong wasn't in the squad again, having come off the bench, and we saw him finally, and then he scored. And I keep thinking of the two Scotsmen, him and Shay Adams, about their futures. Was he not around today because he's injured again, or because he's not involved, or what?
Yeah, so he hasn't been back for very long. So he picked up a knock on Tuesday. He'll be fine. He'll be back training either tomorrow or Monday. So
have you managed to convince him to want to stay? I mean, he's a very experienced international player, but I feel he's got lovely silky skills at his best, and maybe he can unlock defences for you.
Yeah, I think Shu would help, Joe Rebo would help, Jan Bednarek would help, Kamaldeen would certainly help, but they're all injured. So they'll all be back very, very quickly, and a lot of them for Friday, and Stu will hopefully be one of them. With regard to his future, I don't think he has any control over that at the moment, neither do I. So he's given everything he's got in training. He done great the other night when he got on the pitch, and hopefully he'll be fit to help us at Hillsborough as well.
There you go, Saints boss Russell Martin speaking to Adam Blackmore there after their match with AZ Alkmaar this afternoon. We'll speak to Adam and get his thoughts on the game today as well between now and 6. But first, we're going to be joined live very shortly by Bournemouth winger Jayden Anthony. So we'll grab a quick word with him, and then hopefully Andoni Iraola as well. He's just making his way up to the press box now. Jayden, if I can get you to put those headphones on, that'd be wonderful. Thank you very much. Turn your microphone on. That's it.
I can only hear out of one ear, is that right?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay.
As long as you can hear me. Is that okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great stuff. How are you? Let's start with the important question. Talk me through the haircut. What happened over the summer?
Yeah, obviously I just thought I'd go for a little change. I'm actually going back to black tomorrow, so there'll be no more blonde, but yeah, it was just a bit of fun, something new for the summer, and yeah, I enjoyed it.
Did it go down well in the dressing room?
Yeah, obviously the general consensus was people liked it. Don't know if they were being honest, but I enjoyed it.
How are you? How was your summer? How are you feeling ahead of the new season with a few pre-season games under your belt now?
Yeah, no, it was really good, thank you. Enjoyed it. Some nice quality time with family and friends and stuff. So yeah, it was good, and yeah, I'm really excited. Obviously, we've been working away for a little while now and getting ever closer to the season. And yeah, I think we're all buzzing to get started. And yeah, one more game before we start, but yeah, really excited.
Look, a lot of change over the summer. It's the first time we've spoken to you since you've had a change in manager. I'm sure surprised to see Gary O'Neill go.
Yeah, obviously. We're all grateful for what Gary O'Neill done for us, and I thought he was brilliant, and yeah, obviously that's what the direction the club wanted to go in, and as players we just follow and chip away and yeah, do whatever is best for the club.
Talk to me about the new manager then, and what perhaps he's trying to get the squad to do, but what he's trying to get you to do in particular, Andoni Iraola, in terms of his style of play.
Yeah, obviously it's a real attacking style of play. He wants to get us up the pitch and create chaos sort of, and yeah, I feel like we're enjoying it. I thought the Southampton game especially, we were really aggressive in the way we played, and I think that's what he wanted, and hopefully we can keep building on that, and be ready come West Ham.
And that must excite you as a forward player. That style, creating
sure.
chaos, as you say.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, I feel like we're going to be a side that creates a lot of chances, hopefully this season. And yeah, as an attacking player, that's what you want to be a part of, and yeah, try and help in any way you can, really.
Has he said anything to you specifically about what he wants you to do in particular?
No, not me specifically, but yeah, as a group, I feel like we're understanding our roles in the positions we're playing. Obviously, it will change game to game, but he has a clear idea of what he wants us to do, and as a player, you just got to try and do that your best.
Do you set yourself targets at this time of year in terms of what you want to achieve?
Yeah and no. I think for the main part, I just want to help the team in whatever capacity I can. Obviously, it's probably a boring answer, but yeah, my main focus is just doing my best to help the manager in what he wants me to do, and yeah, obviously I have my personal targets as well, but my main focus.
But you're not going to tell us, is that what you're saying?
No. No, I'll keep them close.
It was, of course, your first season in the Premier League. How do you feel you adapted to the change?
Yeah, obviously it was a step up, and yeah, I really enjoyed it, and hopefully I can push on this year and try and keep improving.
I know your manager's on his way up now, Jayden, so I'm going to say thank you very much for coming to speak to us.
Cheers,
live. Best of luck with the season.
Appreciate
we look forward to seeing you in action. Jayden Anthony there, live on BBC Radio Solent, and any moment now as well, his head coach Andoni Iraola is going to make his way up and pop some headphones on and have a chat with us as well, live on BBC Radio. So you listen to Solent Sport with Jordan Clark, and Here is Bournemouth head coach Andoni Iraola. Can you hear me okay, Andoni?
Yes, perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us live on BBC Radio Solent. Start with 2 questions. What did you like most about that performance today, and what did you dislike?
I liked especially I would say first 60 minutes. I think we were quite good. We were punished because the 2 times we made the mistakes in our build-up, they punished us because we were playing a very good team. But probably the worst part from us was last 30 minutes. Some players started to get tired. Also with the subs, we were not so able to maintain this level that we had in the first 60 minutes, I would say.
That's the toughest test you've had so far, you feel, with pre-season?
Yes, probably yes, because there is a team with very good players, but especially because they have been working with the same coach for the last, I would say, 7-8 years. They know they have a very particular system, a lot of one against one duels where they are really specialists, and I think it was a good test for us.
In terms of what you've said to your players as well, what to take away from that, I guess, after today's game, because naturally at this time of year you make a lot of changes. You want to see as many people as you can in action.
Yes, today we had some issues in the midfield with Philip being out and Joe also in this recuperation process. So we tried with Ryan playing inside, a little bit lower, with Brooksy playing as a number 10. New things that I think they can help the team in certain situations, and we think is the moment now to try these things.
Did you like what you saw? Ryan Christie a bit deeper? Do you think that maybe something you could use if you need to?
Yes, I think Ryan, I prefer him as a number 10. I think he's more suited for this position, or even from the side coming inside. But right now with the players we have, he can help us. He played some minutes also against Maccabi there, and I think he's tactically smart, so he can be valuable anywhere.
Is that an injury to Phil Billing?
Yeah.
Kept him out today?
Nah, small issues. Training yesterday, he felt some pain, and it was not the moment to risk, obviously. But we hope now in 2-3 days he's okay, and he can help us even against Lorient maybe.
You've told us that midfield area is a priority for you. Can you give us an insight into perhaps the type of midfield player you're looking for? Obviously the club has lost Jefferson Lerma over the summer, so perhaps a lot of aggression in midfield. Is that the sort of player you're looking to replace with, or someone slightly different?
I think we need probably more than one player there. I think we need different styles, different types of player that can help us in these 3 positions we use in the midfield. But right now is we have to wait. At the end, the club is trying to sign the players, like all the teams, but we have to wait for the right situation. We all think that it's better to wait a little bit more, even if you don't train, but at the end you make the right decision with the correct player, the player that suits your style, and think he's gonna be better for the club.
I know there's been a lot of talk about set pieces. You've kind of inherited that, and many fans have been talking about it. They get in touch with us, may even be listening in now. What do you feel is if you walked into in terms of the issue that needs solving, and maybe do you have a preference of how you defend set pieces as well? Many managers like zonal or man-to-man marking. How have you done things in the past?
Yes, I think we knew before coming here that was one of the things that we needed to improve, and we are seeing in the pre-season games also. No, I think it's an area that where we need to step up. We need to change some things. Today we conceded another. It wasn't the first phase, let's say, but yes, the second ball, second phase. At least we also scored one from a corner kick. But there are things that there are kind of an outside of the open game that take you or cost you a lot of points, or can give you a lot of points, no? And I think defensively especially we need to improve.
Just finally, first look at the Vitality Stadium. I know it wasn't full. What did you make of it, and how do you feel you can use this place maybe to your advantage with it being a smaller ground this season?
I was really surprised, because I didn't expect so many people in a pre-season game, people in all the stands. I think it's gonna be very helpful for us. I wanted to get a better result, but I think at the end what everyone wants is to be good for the start of the season.
Andoni, thank you very much for coming to speak to us. All the best. Thank you. Andoni Iraola there, Bournemouth head coach, live on BBC Radio Solent following their pre-season friendly against Atalanta. Before that, we heard from Jayden Anthony as well. We've already heard from Sam Edozie and Russell Martin up at St Mary's. We're going to try and bring you some reaction from Portsmouth as well. In fact, I think we can do that now. And we'll get back and grab a word with Adam Blackmore as well. But let's just bring you some Pompey reaction. First of all, John Messina, the Pompey boss, has been speaking to Cliff Pledge after their defeat to Bristol City in their final pre-season friendly.
The final pre-season game ended in a defeat. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought we, it was a really good game. Two sides that wanted to play football and were really at it. And I thought Bristol City are an excellent side. I'm sure they'll do well this year in the Championship. They've got some really good players. I thought they looked really sharp. And to be honest, to stand toe-to-toe with them for 90 minutes was really pleasing for us.
What impressed you most about your players today?
I think they stood up to the physical challenge and they tried to press Bristol City. We didn't stand off. They're a side that wants to play football, and they do play good football with the players that they've got. But we wanted to press. Sometimes that press got beat. And on the other side of it, we did try to play. Sometimes in the first half we probably tried to play a bit too much. We weren't practical enough in terms of going beyond the press, which is something we spoke about at half time and I thought addressed pretty well, because as soon as we did that, I thought we looked a bit sharper going forward and created a bit more. So it was really pleasing, I think, again, to look at a side like that who I'm sure will do well in the Championship this year and compete with them was excellent.
Always good to test yourself against teams like that.
Yeah, that was why we designed the back end of pre-season like this. First of all, to have the game against AFC on Tuesday, because we know that going away to a side in the level below, they're really going to be at it. They're going to want to prove a point, and they did. AFC Wimbledon I thought were really good, and then again it's another test because we've got a good side here next week, and to have a test against better opposition in a higher division, it was a really good sort of signpost for where we're at.
Only one goal in the game today. What were your thoughts on the goal conceded?
I haven't properly seen it yet, but we've obviously conceded from a corner. I think it was the second phase or the second ball picked up, and one of our markers must have switched off. So we'll have a look at that. We haven't spent a huge amount of time doing set pieces so far, so we did a bit on them this week, and we've got a lot of time this week to work on them going into the Rovers game next week.
There you go. John Messina, Pompey boss, with Cliff Pledge at a very windy, from the sounds of it, Fratton Park. No change there then, even with the sunshine out this afternoon. We'll try and get you a player as well from Fratton Park if we can. I know Cliff is running around at the moment trying to locate one to interview, so don't go anywhere, Pompey fans. We're on the air through until 6 o'clock. Then Richard Latto will take over with Stereo Underground. And I get to some of your messages as well. Just a quick shout out to Colin in Mansfield again. He said thank you very much for pointing out that it was Grant Coleman and Roger Johnson that did the commentary. Colin, you're more than welcome, and we have to say thank you to Chris in Milford-on-Sea, who actually sent the message in identifying the two commentators, because me and Adam Blackmore didn't have a clue. I'll come to a couple more in a moment. We've got a question for Adam as well, but let's just go back to St Mary's and bring Adam back in, because we heard from Russell Martin earlier on. I'm impressed with what I'm hearing from him. I like how he speaks. I like what he said. A lot of nonsense around at the moment. Yeah? He said, didn't he? A lot of nonsense around at the moment.
A lot of noise. I think it's the frustrations of a manager who knows that the chief executive and the director of football are doing their best, but at the end of the day he's still a coach, and he's still 6 days from the new season, and he's still got a lot of uncertainty in the dressing room, and it frustrates the heck out of him. He said it Tuesday night, reiterated it today. He can't do anything about it. He might think, if he was being totally selfish, well, just sell the players that you're going to sell quickly for whatever price you can get, and let's get on with it. Just doesn't happen like that, does it? So it's going to be drawn out, I'm afraid. He's going to spend most of August frustrated, because there'll be players he wants to have opportunities to sign that he wants time to get in as well. So from a manager's point of view, it is a nightmare this next 4 weeks when you're on the sort of receiving end of it that Saints are, where big clubs are coming for your players who want to go and play in the Premier League. You don't want to stop them, you want them to go, but you just want to get on with it. And I think that's the frustration in the process for the manager. Interesting, he's reaffirmed that Stuart Armstrong injured. Bednarek injured, Joe Aribo injured, Sulemana injured, but he thinks most of them will be back for Friday night, and he's talked about what a difference they'll make to the squad, of course, and the shape. We think about particularly about Bednarek and Stevens together. So when we're looking at Friday night's team at Sheffield Wednesday, Jordan, you would think on paper, and he says Livramento's fine, by the way. He came off at half time having limped, but he's okay. But if you say he's still there, you've got Livramento, Stevens, Bednarek, and then you've got Manning at left back. That looks fine. And then your midfield could be Ward-Prowse, Lavia, Smallbone. It could be, Lavia.
You're not putting money. You're not going down the bookies to put any money on that, though, are you?
No, I'm not. No, if they're going, I'd rather them get on with it. So I'm on Russell's side with this. I want the team to be settled and to be able players to play who are going to be here. But he did say, and I thought it was worth asking him, I will play the strongest team I've got, but it's not going to look like that by September. So he's not going to think, well, I won't play them because, he's not going to cut his nose off to spite his face. And that was the question I was interested in. You might think, well, what's the point of playing them if they're not going to be here? But the quality we're talking about, if you get 9 points in August instead of 6, because you've got those players still with you, why wouldn't you do that?
That is an interesting way of looking at it. But then does it not then set you back from, because 9 points is going to keep you up, set you back from that point onwards in terms of the players you could have had bedding in and gelling and that weren't because someone else was playing.
But I agree. But if you pick up 3 or 4 more points than you might have done, you've got more momentum. You might not have lost. You might have got through August with unbeaten, and yes, you will have lost a bit because some players who are going to play won't have played, but you could say they'll be fresher for the rest of the campaign, Jordan. You get a break in September anyway. So I think if you get to the international break after September the 2nd, I think the game for Sunderland is before the break. Okay, so if you get to that and you've lost, maybe you don't lose some players till August the 31st or September the 1st. So maybe that's the first game where you see the reality. Well, it will be, won't it, because it's September the 2nd, but maybe that's when we'll know. But if you can play players right up to then, and then they go in that final week, perhaps you get Ward-Prowse here for QPR, Plymouth, Norwich and Sheffield Wednesday and whoever. So look, I think fans have accepted the best players are going to go. If they keep them, I'm a bit like you. I think you'd rather have the players, but I understand why a manager thinks, well, we're paying them fortunes, they're bloody good players, let's play them. Let's
I
get
think
the points.
That will really split supporters as well. Like you get probably half that will want to play them, half that won't want them anywhere near the team if they know they're going.
Well, but I think
you
there's
have
a
to
lot.
Make a decision. Well, Russell Martin has to make a decision either way, doesn't he?
Yeah, but do you know what? It's not like any of them have come out in the media and rattled cages to get their moves. What's interesting with this is that I think there's quite a general acceptance. We've not had noise from Walker-Peters or Ward-Prowse or Lavia, have we? We've not had that, like we've had the antagonistic approach to leaving the club, like we saw with Van Dijk and things like that. So I think fans are a bit more forgiving because I think they know that I think the thing is, say you've got a player who's been here 6 months or a year, like Lavia, Alcaraz, Sulemanis, Onuachu, something like that. Other clubs can't take the mick. Saints could keep them here for another 3 years with their contracts. So don't come in with your stupid offers for players we've only just signed. If you think they're that good, we've got long contracts on them. Put the money on the table, because otherwise they're not going anywhere. And that particularly applies to Lavia, who's only 1 year into a 5-year deal. So don't take the mick. We're quite, and you could say to the players, well, we're quite happy. You keep you. You're a great player. We'll keep you for another 3 years. Don't worry about it. So the buying clubs have got to be realistic, because the vibes I'm getting speaking to people around the club are that they're not going to have anyone hold them to ransom over these players. They're going to get what they think they're worth, and if they don't, they're happy to play them. So that's that.
I know you've had a good chat with Jordi Classy. We're going to play that out in a moment, but I've got a couple of questions for you from some Saints fans. I think you may have answered one of them already on Sulemana, but this one, no name, and it says just back from holes, and I've seen Tall Paul has made the bench, but the listener in question wants to know if you have any news on Bella Kotchap and Sulemana while they haven't been playing. So you said Sulemana's injured. I think Russell Martin confirmed that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about Bella Kotchap.
He didn't mention Bella Kotchap. I think he might be further down the line. I have asked other people. They say he's injured from the struggles he had at the end of last season, and so I don't know. I honestly don't know with Bella Kotchap. I can't answer that with any particular detail because, frankly, with the amount of players I was thinking about asking about, I forgot about him. So that fell by the wayside. Jordan, any other questions?
Yeah, John M. And new season, same questions For Adam, he says, what are the chances of us getting a decent prolific striker? It's been a major problem since Danny Ings left and was never properly replaced. It's almost word for word for the ones we were reading out for the last 4 years.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Well, when did he leave? 2020, something like that? 2021? So since then, they've not replaced him. I think a lot will depend on whether Shea Adams stays, Jordan. How many can you carry? If you're playing 3 up front, 1 striker, and it's Adam Armstrong or it's Shea Adams, how many more do you need? So Shea Adams gets a move to the Premier League. Saints need a good one. I still believe Adam Armstrong can be prolific in the Championship like he was at Blackburn. Why not? Those he might have suffered in the Premier League, but that's got to have helped his game, playing at that level for the last 2 seasons. All right, so let's hope Adam Armstrong can come good. He's looked sharp in pre-season. I think he's linked up well with Alcaraz. I do think they need another body up there, but I don't think that's going to happen, Jordan, until A, we know possibly the outcome of Shea Adams' summer, and B, some of these players have moved on to Saints and spend some good money. There is talk of Ross Stewart from Sunderland. He's been a player that's been mentioned, a little bit injury prone maybe for my liking. We'll see. There are other players out there. He's not the only one, and Saints, if they are ambitious, will tempt a lot of good players to come to them because of the setup they've got now with Jason Wilcox and everything else going on, and Russell Martin. I think it will be an attractive proposition for either young players who want to move up to the Premier League and think they can show on the big stage, as Saints have done when they've been a Premier League club, or other very good strikers in the Championship might see Saints as a better option. So, we'll see on that front, Jordan.
Adam, thank you very much. That's all the questions. Final one then, Friday night. We're ready to go. New season already here. What a place to go as well to kick off the season, Hillsborough.
It's perfect.
Come on, how's it going to go?
It's going to be absolutely brilliant. It's going to be rattling around Hillsborough because the fans are going to be... The Wednesday fans, they just got promoted. They'll be absolutely bang up for it. We know that. The place can hold, 40,000 people. It's one of the country's brilliant traditional grounds. I can't wait for the game, and it's a night match. The atmosphere is going to be terrific. Saints are going to go up there. Now, it's not all beer and skittles at Sheffield Wednesday. There's lots of unhappiness about the ownership at that club, of course. You remember the 2 sides played last year when they were 2 leagues apart. Now, of course, that's unfortunately not the case. But Sheffield Wednesday have got problems off the pitch. The owners are not popular. They've just brought in Cisco Munoz, of course, the manager. We don't know what he's going to do, the former Watford man, so we haven't really got much of a clue about how they'll be under him. So it's interesting for me because I remember Darren Moore, the former Pompey defender, he got them promoted and then got sacked in the summer. That's the craziness of the Sheffield Wednesday ownership for you, Jordan. So now Cisco Munoz comes in and we'll see what he can do. But look, from a Saints perspective, if they have still got most of the players we talked about them having to sell, they're going to be very strong. I think they can go up there and win. I think it could be a great start to the season. And I will just say something about Jordi Classy for Saints fans. If you haven't got time to listen to him now on the show, try and listen to him via our Twitter feed at Solent Sport. I wasn't actually going to interview him, Jordan. I just had a chat with him and he came over and said, "Hi, how are you? How's life?" And he was so lovely. And we were chatting. And then he said a couple of things about Saints on the pitch. And I said, "Oh, can we record this?" So it's interesting for me if Saints fans hear him talking about what he thought of Russell Martin's style of play. And I think Saints fans will like what he says.
Well, we're going to do that now. Adam, thank you very much. We'll see you on Friday. We'll be back for that Sheffield Wednesday game. And here's that interview for you now, Saints fans. Adam with former Saints player, nowadays at Alkmaar, Jordi Classy.
Jordi, lovely to see you. How was it to be back at St Mary's?
Oh, really nice. I mean, it's always good to be back and seeing some couple of nice people who I work with. So it's always nice to be back.
What I'm really interested in, as a Dutch footballer who's always played football the right way, what did you make of this Southampton team under Russell Martin?
I think they are really well. I think we didn't expect that they are that good. And the way how they play with the short passes, the combinations. I think I give them a good chance to play in the top of the league this season. Like if you've seen today how difficult it was for us. Also physically, but also the way how they play, how they press, and the communication between the centre backs and the midfielders are really good. Triangles, what they try to want to do was really good. It was difficult for us today.
So it was a bit of a surprise for you. You weren't expecting that.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing that many times. You have Barcelona in a good time, City. But I mean, of course, it's like a different level, Barca, City, and Southampton. But like the way how they try to play, I really love that. And I hope that they're gonna come back on the top of the league and they promote again.
That's interesting for me because, of course, we don't see it like, because I've not played the game, but when you're on the pitch, for you to say it's like that, we know that's what he's trying to do. They don't want to give the ball away. They don't want to kick it 40 yards and give it you back on the halfway line.
Yeah.
You must admire that then.
Yeah, of course. Especially the first half, I think, was really difficult. Like the moment, because like our team, like our club, they want to press always. And you see how difficult it was for us because they choose the right moment to attack as well. And when we try to press, they break our lines constantly, and that was I mean, the first 45 minutes was a big problem for us, and the second half is getting a bit better, but still it was a tough game for us, and we have to learn from this and see some clips next week, and hopefully we can do a better job than today.
Just final question, let Saints fans know how you are, how life is at AZ Alkmaar, because you had a heck of a long season last time around.
Yeah, we had a long season, a lot of games. But still, I enjoy it. I'm back home, and I'm happy over here. I'm 32 now, and a couple of years more over here, and then we will see what's happened. But for now, I'm okay. I'm happy, and say hello to everyone, and I'm good.
That's good to hear, isn't it? Jordi Clasie, their former Saints player, speaking to Adam Blackmore, now at AZ Alkmaar, who Southampton have been beaten by today in their final pre-season friendly before the opener against Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough on Friday night, live on Solent Sport. As with every Saints, every Bournemouth, every Portsmouth game. If you've got back in a little late, maybe flicked your radio on, only just tuned in, we've heard this afternoon from Russell Martin, the Saints boss, and Sam Adozi, as well as Jordi Clasie that you just heard there. We've heard from Bournemouth manager Andoni Iraola. We've heard from Jayden Anthony as well. Both joined us live in the press box here at the Vitality Stadium. And on the Pompey front, we heard from John Messino. Cliff Pledge went off to track a player down, and the player that was meant to be on interview duty, I won't name them, they'd headed home. So unfortunately, Pompey fans, I apologise, no player interview to bring you, but we will, of course, always have them after the games this season. So the John Messino interview also going up online as well. BBC Sounds is where you'll find them. At Solent Sport on Twitter is a great place to go and find the link, or you can go to bbc.co.uk/Solent, scroll down and click on Sports Clips. That's where you'll find all the interviews that we put online on BBC Sounds. That's all we've got time for on Solent Sport. Thank you very much for listening. Richard Latto is on the way with Stereo Underground next. Remember, all of our interviews from today going up on BBC Sounds. The quickest way to find them at Solent Sport on Twitter, or you can go to bbc.co.uk/Solent, scroll down and click on Sports Clips. We've heard from all three managers, Andoni Iraola, Russell Martin and John Messino as well. We've heard from Jordi Clasie, we've heard from Sam Adozi, we've heard from Jayden Anthony as well. Let me tell you very quickly about what's coming up this week then. We've got cricket commentary for you on Tuesday. Hampshire start their one-day cup competition at home to Middlesex. We'll be on the air from 11 o'clock on the BBC Sport website and app. And then it's all set for the Football League season to start with Saints on Friday night away at Sheffield Wednesday, on the air from 6 with all the build-up in the sports hour. And then kick off at 8, and then on Saturday it's Portsmouth against Bristol Rovers in League One. I hope you can join us again then. Thanks for listening.